All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first AI Vibe Check. Yay! We actually have Riley here in person here in San Francisco. And if you're kind of wondering kind of what the vibe is like, we're actually in the same room.
We're not on Zoom.
We're not on Zoom. Yeah, trust me. I got this whole thing produced. And the way that it's kind of going down right now is like we're literally live here in San Francisco. And if you don't know, what's really crazy is like last year in February, Claude Code had just come out. And it sort of had changed the industry, but a lot of people didn't really start using it right away. It wasn't until later on people started kind of figuring out that this is a really powerful tool. Fast forward to now, like in November of 2025, Opus 4.5 has come out, and it's really kind of changed the game as far as like people prompting things into existence and then kind of generating stuff. And I thought this would be a really good idea to kind of hang out with my buddy here, Riley, who has been doing this since pretty much the beginning of time. When we say time, AI time. And these timelines is really kind of insane because at the very beginning of this whole thing, when we started kind of understanding that you can just, talk to a language model and actually produces something, whether it worked or not, was kind of a different story, and everything's continued to evolve. So I'm really happy to kind of have this conversation with us here live. And I encourage you and everyone else who's currently online to feel free to drop any questions, because what's really cool about a live stream here is that I'm going to be able to feature everyone here. So big shout outs to, we have Edivan here as well. We have Joe on X as well pulling up. We also have a Brosef Swaggerman. What's up,
Brosef.
Ray? Yeah, Brosef, what's going on, man? I can't wait for this. Big fan as well. Big shout out to DB Tech. I hear Riley might like Claude Code. Yeah, man, there's a lot of really good stuff that we're going to cover today. And I just want to show you a little bit of kind of what it looks like behind me. So this is kind of like the vibe. And let me see if I can kind of turn around the camera. So we have our friends here. We have Maddie. What's going on? We have Ronald as well. We also have some other folks here. Yes, we have Tech Friend. We also have some Convex folks in the building. We got Wayne, and then I think of Michael in the back, right? Yeah. And then we also have Sai, and then your name here, Srita, yes. And cool. So yeah, this is the vibes right now. And so in the future, we're going to be doing some more events, much bigger. I just thought I'd just kind of keep it simple. So yeah, Riley, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the inaugural AI Vibe Check in San Francisco.
This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what are you currently working on? Because I remember seeing you from the very beginnings, you were just prompting with these models and trying to make stuff happen.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can start with when I first got into this. I think that's interesting. So I remember Claude Artifacts when it launched in March of 2024 was the first time where you could actually like ask an AI agent to like write code, and then it would render that code in the side panel, right? And it was just a front end, very simple. Most of the stuff didn't even work, but it was the first time, because before that, ChatGPT could only generate code, and you're like, non-technical people like me, they're like, where do I put that code? Like, what does that even mean? But once it started rendering the code, I think that really like got a bunch of companies to like create these tools where you could ask an AI to code, and then it would build the tool for you. And then I was just obsessed ever since. And then I've just made a ton of videos. I was making content. And then, last year, 2025, I started a company called VibeCode. And we're building VibeCode.dev, which is an AI app builder, builds mobile apps and web apps. And we decided to just use Claude Code as our default agent. So it's just running Claude Code, literally Claude Code in a sandbox, and it can create mobile apps and web apps. We decided not to build our own agent. We're just using Claude Code. And so that's a lot of fun.
Whoa. So basically you're using Claude Code as your agent per se.
Yeah.
Because that's already doing really well. And you take the requests from what the user is asking, and then you don't like do anything in between to say, we think that the user wants this. You just hand that right off to Claude Code.
Yeah, it's as if you're running Claude Code on your computer, except it's in a sandbox, which is like a virtual computer. And we handle everything around that. And we're trying to make that experience as easy as possible. But we're going to add the other models too. Like we're going to add Gemini CLI and Codex pretty soon. So I just love these coding agents. And, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. We're not going to compete with them in the model business. I think we can just make the experience of using these models in a web interface as easy as possible, make it super easy to deploy. We have a VibeCode cloud, which basically does all the backend stuff for the user. So like you could say, build an app with front end and back end, it'll just do it. And we built our own database system into VibeCode. So yeah.
Yeah, this is like what's really amazing. And I think the thing that kind of blows me away about you, Riley, and even just for the folks who are watching, I used to be an engineer at Apple for like 12 plus years. And when I started using this type of stuff, it was just a big light bulb moment right at the very beginning. It's like, wow, you can describe something and it generates code. But I think too many engineers got hung up on like, well, it doesn't do the completion for everything, or look at the code quality. It's not really that good, you know? Like, it's like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. But if you kind of see where the puck is going, you know what I mean? It's like, this is only going to get better if it does get better. And, you know, for me, I became really curious as an engineer. I was like, can I shape the output? Can I put things together in a sequential way that can influence what the results do? And that's where I started noticing bigger differences in that. And it wasn't really for me until like Cursor. So Cursor with the Sonnet 3.5, when that came out, that was a really big deal for me because at that time now, like instead of copying and pasting back and forth into ChatGPT, like their little composer thing was kind of doing that type of thing.
Or OG Cursor composer.
OG Cursor.
Yeah, so Cursor started, their big feature was like the tab feature where you would like type stuff and it was just like the first AI coding autocomplete that was like really good and fast. And apparently it's awesome. I've never written code, so I've never used the tab feature. But once they released the composer feature, I felt like whatever Claude Code is feeling right now, the Claude Code moment, there was a Cursor moment with Cursor Composer because it was the first time where you could tell an agent to make a change to your app and it would edit the code, delete the files, add files, and it would just like run it. And you didn't even have to look at the code at all. You could just request changes, and people were using Whisperflow or Super Whisper, and people weren't even touching their keyboard. They were just speaking it, which I thought was fun.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so now like fast forward, 2026, and that was like in 2024 era timeframe. And so we've had a whole year and all these agents, like the term agent kind of started to evolve because it was no longer done by hand in some ways. And we're now kind of moving into a space in terms of like these companies realizing there's economic value that can actually be added here simply if you can think through the rest of the process and then leverage these sort of like undeterministic tools, but kind of, gear them towards a certain way. And I think sort of like the agentic term came out and like the harness capabilities, which is like the thing that will now interface between the API endpoint, which is, OpenAI's like language model or Claude in this case, or Anthropic. And then the decisions that something needs to make before, a user it prompts and so forth. And so I kind of bring this history up because this is really interesting as far as like, what's the current vibes and like, where do you think things are going? So Riley, not being a software engineer, like by trade, right? You're a content creator, right? Full time?
Yeah. I mean, I was super interested in AI. Like I was into Midjourney a few months before ChatGPT came out, and that was my wormhole into this whole thing. My buddy messaged me on Discord, and he was just like, "Dude, you have to try this. This thing generates images." I was like, "Okay." I tried it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm gonna start making content on it." And I started making content, and then the day ChatGPT came out, I made the first video on TikTok about ChatGPT, and it got like 25 million views, and like I had like a thousand, dude, watching you manually switch between the cameras is awesome. Anyway, yeah, that was my wormhole into it. And then I just kept making content. And then I was kind of bored of the content, like the paid sponsorships, etc. And I was like, I really want to start a company. And then that's when I met my co-founders.
Whoa. Yeah. Wow. So then from there, that's kind of where, what kind of really impressed me. It's like that background to then go from there to like startup, it's not easy. Like myself, like I'm not even doing this yet. Like it's not that there is a bar here, but I think what I'm learning from Riley, and this is kind of why I wanted to have him here, and I wanted to really kind of kick off the vibe check, is because we have two very different backgrounds, very different places, and I think society is going to start to see this more and more at a larger scale. So if you're watching this right now on the live stream, you're pretty much maybe starting to see the inklings of this, or you may be in the inner circles of where this is actually happening right now. And we're literally in SF, like the heart of where all these companies are pretty much born right now. So it's interesting because I think there's going to be a lot of, people shifting what they identify as what their identity is. For me as an engineer, I don't think of myself as an engineer anymore. I just think of a person now who is going to be creative and bring stuff into life. And that's kind of what I want to, leverage these types of tools to do that. And so like watching someone like Riley kind of come into existence here and say, cool, let's just kind of keep pushing this further and further. And I think I also like the innocence of saying, why do I need like some type of special training model to sit between my users why can't I just put Claude Code and have it make the app for me? Like, it's kind of genius, right?
Yeah, we started off trying to build our own coding agent, and then we just realized that like you can't really compete with these big companies. So like, and there's a lot of things that you need to do for the user. That's not generating the code is a small part of it. Like you have to like allow deployments, you have to host, you have to like add like a lot of security things, and that's what our team spends all of our time on, is like all of the extra stuff beyond the coding generation, which 100%.
Wow. So what kind of apps can you make now with like
any app besides like Swift, like any desktop apps or like Swift stuff, because it's a web-based app, but any web-based app or mobile app you can create. And so we started off as a mobile app builder.
Yeah.
And that's what got us funded. I think we wouldn't have been able to raise originally if we just said, oh, we're going to build the 30th web app builder. And our wedge in the market is we created the first mobile app that builds mobile apps. And so, yeah, we have like over 5,000 people have submitted apps to test flight, and none of which like there was no manual coding. Like we didn't even add the feature where you can see your code until like 3 weeks ago. It was all with AI.
Whoa. So if I have an idea, like I wanted to track my health or something like that, which is a lot of people like to do that, or track the reps in the gym or something, you just prompt it and it starts to build it for you right away.
Yeah, it builds it for you with VibeCode Cloud. It builds a database for you on the first prompt. Just say like, I want to create it with a database. And yeah, I mean, it's been the hardest, most challenging things were the app store flow. Cause like you can send the app to the app store from your phone.
Yeah.
Or from our web app now, you can just submit it. If you just have to connect your Apple developer account and you go through the flow, you say yes, yes, yes. And there's a lot of stuff we had to do in the back end to make that flow work. But yeah, you can submit it to the app store. You can add a revenue cat. Like you can charge users and you can test the paywall in the app. It'll like tell you it works. Yeah.
If you've ever set this up, if you ever make a mobile app, it's kind of a lengthy, ridiculous process. And if you ever work with Apple accounts framework and all these other account frameworks just to make this actually kind of a reality, it could take people weeks, just like setting up Stripe in general, like in a web app.
It's bad. It's bad. We're inspired by making it easier because I went through the flow as someone non-technical. I was like, okay, I'm going to get an app on the App Store with just Claude Code and Cursor. I'm going to go like, and it took me forever to like, I had to like talk to AI. Okay, like what form do I need to fill out on Apple? Like, and you have to like you have to just set up a ton of things on App Store Connect. And we're just like, let's try and make this as streamlined as possible.
So I'm curious, like, have you vibe coded also? Like I know Opus is 4.5 is kind of like the big driver right now.
Sure.
What other models are you playing with?
I'm using Claude Opus 4.5 in Claude Code. I mean, we used Sonnet before Opus came out, and we do testing. So like when Gemini came out, I was like, oh, this is really good at front end design. And we tested it. We have all the models set up on our end. We can test Gemini in our app. It's just not that good at React Native, which is what mobile apps, that's the language we use for a framework. And so it just wasn't quite as good as Opus, and Opus was really good at building mobile apps now.
Wow.
And it gets way better every iteration.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. Yeah, because for me, I've been kind of playing around with all the different models and trying different stuff out all the time. And I'm just trying to figure out like what, out of all the different ideas now, I don't think I'm bottlenecked necessarily from, I feel like I'm not even pushing these models hard enough. I feel like I need to like start coming up with bigger ideas. Like you took on this crazy challenge of saying, well, why don't I just build an app builder that for mobile that no one else is doing? And to me, I would have like looked at that idea 6 months ago and then like, oh, that's going to be too crazy for me. Like what made you kind of go in that direction, I guess, for you?
Well, for me, I was
like, were you scared? I mean, because like,
well, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this. My co-founder, Anj, he's just an assassin. He's like one of the best React native developers in the world. So like our team is deeply technical.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm in charge of marketing and growing the company. I have an existing audience and I'm super passionate about the company. And so, yeah, if I didn't meet him, I wouldn't have, and he'd had experience raising money before and doing the startup stuff. I knew nothing about startups. But what I did learn as a creator is that you can just kind of do things and you'll figure it out along the way. You don't need to learn all the steps. You just have to like focus on the next step and then learn the next step. And we ended up moving to San Francisco in March of 2025, and we raised a pretty big seed round. And
wow.
yeah, it's been really fun. Just like learning every step of the day. I work every day for 10 to 12 hours. It's not easy, but it's way more fun, in my opinion, than just being a content creator. I do think it's more fun. There's pros and cons to all of it, but like I'm all in on the start. Like I really enjoy this startup. I really I believe in the company. So
that's
why
amazing, man. Yeah, because so I think for me, right now, I'm sort of seeing this weird identity shift. And I think Dan Vegas actually was kind of commenting here. He's saying, I've been a software developer for 24 years and I've never felt more empowered at the same time. I've actually never felt more behind as well. I think a lot of people kind of feeling this way. And, for me, it's like, if I go back into the market or something, if I go work at, a big company, I feel like I'll just get lost and kind of get out of there. And they'll just say, okay, you've been replaced by this other thing. And so I don't want to be in those environments where I feel like I'm under that type of pressure. So I've just decided to just go all in and just build and figure this stuff out, right? Mm-hmm. And so how would you then put, like, there's ranges of people. There's like senior people like, me in the market, and I'm just playing and exploring live, and just sharing whatever I go. How would you kind of describe like your journey? Because like, I feel you're approaching it from a very like different angle, and it just seems like not play, but it's just like you said, it's just one step at a time. It seems to unfold. I kind of expand on that a little more. Yeah. Because I would think like if someone's young starting out and they're looking at people like me, right? They're just saying, well, that guy used to work at Apple, and like, why is he not going back? Or clearly like that's not the future. Yeah. It's kind of obvious. So it's like, you don't want to go work at a big tech company that's kind of dying off or something and not adopting AI. So that's kind of not an option. And then other people who are just starting out can't really get into the market because they're not like have enough experience.
Right.
And so,
I don't know what the answer to that. I just think like you can just do things. And what I really like about the path that I took, which is content creation into startup founding, and it's becoming a much more common path because ultimately you're building capacity. When you create content, in the way you're creating content, you're doing this, you're building capacity for a business that you might start in the future. And I saw this tweet earlier, which is like, if you don't know what to do, build capacity, right? You don't, and I really like that. It's just like, and I got super passionate about AI, and it was play for me. I was just learning about AI. I took what I learned and I made TikTok videos, Instagram videos, and then eventually YouTube videos. And I posted tweets until I had the capacity where people would reach out to me because they wanted me to be involved in their startup. And I had a lot of calls with a lot of people at the beginning of, or at the end of 2024. And then that's how I met my co-founders. So I think the best thing that you could do right now is get super interested in, for me, it's AI. Yeah. I think it's the most interesting thing going on. Yeah. But if you're starting out, just like find one little narrow part of AI that you really connect with, that you want to be an expert in, and just talk about it, provide value on the internet. And then that builds capacity for something you might want to do in the future.
I really like that message because that's exactly sort of why I even started this exact show today. This Thursday, every Thursday, we're going to be doing this little AI vibe check, is because I feel like as a community, you should be also hosting something like this in your neighborhood, in your wherever. Somebody in our last live stream said that, there's no one in my town that I can talk to. It's like, as soon as you start putting out an event or something, people will start showing up because they recognize that this is probably like the biggest transformational shift, but you're not alone. And I think we're all discovering, and I think this is kind of weird because we're in an age where when I was growing up, I felt like there was always like authority figures that would kind of guide you along, like a teacher or someone with some experience, right? And there are those as well, but now I think more than ever, it's like community-based learning is going to be more important.
Claude, Opus 4.5.
Claude, yeah.
There's no better teacher than AI. Like, I think Naval tweeted this today. Sorry, all of my wisdom comes from tweets. It's fine.
Let's go.
Naval tweeted today is just like something like, AI for learning is an autodidact's dream or something like that, where like if you are intrinsically motivated to like learn stuff all the time and you can just ask AI and it'll tell you how to do it, and now with Claude it'll just do it. Just like what I tell people is just pick a project, something that you want to do for fun. Don't try and make money on the first thing. It's like trying to get sponsored for your first video you make on social media. It's just not going to happen. Don't try and make money on the first thing you VibeCode. Just pick a cool project that you might want to make exist and then pursue it, make it real, and just if you run into something that you don't know, ask Claude. It'll know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then your world becomes your playground, you know? And then other people who share that interest will gather around you on social media. It's pretty magical the way that happens. You get in the algorithm and you meet your people. And
do you have a platform you prefer? Like, you know, right now I'm using like X and YouTube quite a bit.
Yeah.
What do you have like a preferred?
I mean, I think I have a pretty good cover. Like I have like 1.4 million followers across the 4 major platforms, which is TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X. In terms of which platform is the most valuable in terms of like monetary purposes, I think it might be YouTube, maybe. But I love X. Like X is just, I'm really aggressive with my algorithm. Like I mute and block pretty frequently. And today someone called me out for blocking them. And it was probably just because I didn't want to see more content like that. I just, if you're aggressively mute and block, you end up, it only shows you content that you want to see over time. And now my algorithm is just amazing. All I do is see Claude Code skills stuff right now. And I'm obsessed with that.
Yes.
Which we should talk about that.
Yes,
like
let's talk about skills because like
Okay.
I've been trying to get into them and like I've been taking past conversations and like turning them into skills.
Yeah.
And like my favorite skill today, somebody wrote like I guess articles on X are a really big deal right now. And I could tell they used AI to write it, and it's just so annoying because their main point didn't land, and it just kind of got expanded out by like, you know, it's so many paragraphs. And I just said, can you just analyze this writing and tell me like all of the logical fallacies, and tell me like what point they were trying to make, like what's one of the TLDRs, and then tell me like if there's anything that they're making as far as proof, is it emotional or is there actually something that there is supporting evidence for it? And then also tell me if there's any sources they cite that are like incorrect. And so it did an analysis. I love the output. And I just said, now turn this into a skill file so that whenever I give you a link, you can just kind of run this analysis over and over again. And I thought, boom, you know, I just made an app basically in like, you know, a conversation. And it's like, that's one of many skills that are just very different, but would love to hear how you're using it too. Like,
yeah. Skills are something, basically all a skill is it's like instructions when Claude needs it. So you basically name your skill, you put a description for your skill, and the description for your skill tells Claude when to use the skill. And so you're saying like, if I ever mention Slack, use this Slack skill. And you can put like webhooks in the skill. So I put instructions on messaging my team in Slack. And it uses the skill when I say, so like I'll be in Claude Code and I'll be like, please do research on something going on in AI, and then send this to Anj, my co-founder, in Slack, and it will go off, do research. And if you give it like a document creator skill, it'll create the document, then it'll use the Slack skill and send it to someone in Slack. And that's just one random example. What's really cool, Remotion, I don't know if you've been following this on X, is Remotion. I don't know what Remotion was doing before. I think they were just like, does anyone know what Remotion was doing before?
It's like a library for animation.
It's like a So it's like a library for animations. And then they just basically said like, by the way, we released this skill that you can attach to Claude Code. And then all of a sudden you could use Claude Code to create animated videos. And I spent 20 minutes on it yesterday, and I made a video that was as good as our previous launch video, which got 1 million views.
No way, bro.
So
no way. That's
and
crazy.
the way you configured it was, I said, look up the Remotion skill. People are talking about it on X. Configure it so that you can create videos, and then I'll tell you what video to make. And then it basically created this little canvas, and then it said, okay, I'm done. What video do you want to make? I typed in my video idea, and it made this animated video, and then it added this like render button. I clicked the render button, and it exported the video. And that was just
what? Wait, so hold on. You don't even need the assets and stuff. You can just, it finds the assets for you, or
so
it uses
can
Nano
upload
Banana?
them. So like,
Okay.
it can find libraries of assets. So there's a whole ton of like icon libraries on the internet.
right.
So
Yes.
you could tell it to just like look up a library of icons, use this in it. But what you could also do is you could just upload your files. Or
Wow.
if you're running Claude Code locally, like you can just say like, here's a folder of all of our assets as a company, use this in the video, it'll do it. And so we put our logo in the launch video, and I said, make it look like, I said, put a laptop, like make a laptop and have it type into the computer and have it generate an app. And it did it. And then I said, and it splits it up into scenes. And I said, in scene 2, do that, like make it pop up a little faster. And it did. I wish I could show it live, but it is, try this. Just go to Claude Code and say exactly what I said earlier, which is just set up the Remotion skill, look it up on the internet and set it up and it'll do it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So step 1, basically tell Claude Code, I heard about this skill, look it up on the internet.
Yeah.
It'll go find it. And it's like, say, it does this little web search, goes off and off. And then it's like, cool, I found it, go ahead and install it. Once you have the Remotion skill, then start prompting your idea, throw in any assets, and then start to describe what you want to see in the scene. And that could be like, and so if you then combine this with, can you do like React code with it too? Because I thought you can animate like some layers of your, I see people's apps animated and stuff. Is that kind of what they're doing?
Animated?
Have you ever seen those launch videos where like the apps are kind of flying off this, like the...
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what it looks like. I have no idea about the technology behind it. I never even looked. I just test. I just tested and it worked and I exported it and I felt like the way that I look at it is like the best gamers in the world who are like at like Fortnite or something. They don't know how Fortnite was made. They're just really good at playing the game.
That's right.
I don't care what's going on behind the scenes. I just play the game. Claude Code turned coding into a video game. And I'm just like,
let's go.
That's kind of how I think about it. Obviously my whole team is technical and they know the game. So I have that luxury, but
you're sharing it publicly. Like you're then turning it around and then making content about it, showing what you learned from talking to technical people too.
And I've learned a lot talking to technical people. And I think there's a lot of concepts to understand. Like I think understanding database, tables, schemas, and having and understanding things like deployments. There's a bunch of things that I could list, cron jobs and like APIs, integrations. Like I'm very familiar with like all of the API, like not all, but most of the AI APIs out there.
Yes.
And so whenever I have an idea for an app, I know like, I can just use that API.
Got it.
Which is, And so it's almost like Legos.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So I think from the beginning, if you were kind of starting all over again, like if you're talking to like Riley Jr., right? So like Riley Jr. is becoming, content creator and is now kind of getting into this because he saw his dad like, playing around with all this stuff. It sounds like, what are some of the most important things that people should start like talking into?
In terms of content or vibe coding?
Maybe just like, maybe we'll do vibe coding. And then I think we could also get into segments for content because a lot of people who are getting started out, maybe they're good engineers or something, and then they have a lot to share. So maybe their blocking thing is just like, I can't talk to the camera, or if they do talk to the camera, what do they say? Or, how to do how to share messages that you do like so easily that you don't think about it anymore,
Yeah. I think, I think the best thing to do is to lean into your strengths. I've never been shy in terms of like talking to people or talking to the camera.
Yeah.
And so that came relatively easy to me. But it was still not easy when you start out. I would encourage you to be as cringe as possible, as quickly as possible to shake off any. I think the biggest thing in stopping people from making content is the fear of being judged by people they knew previously, like before you became a content creator. I think people are very afraid of that. I think that's, I've talked to hundreds of people who like, and Greg Eisenberg, I talked to him about it. He calls it cringe mountain, where like you have to like cross this path and then you're able to just say whatever you want and be yourself on the internet. But you do have to like pass that. And so I would just make videos quickly, realize that if they suck, no one will see them anyway. So might as well post them. But the problem is people are worried about like, oh, what is Riley doing? He's posting on Instagram. He's getting 100 views. Like that's lame. But like, you have to understand that everyone who starts off making content starts off like that. I mean, I don't know how you started. I started off making videos with like no views.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so in terms of making content, just put it out there. If you don't want to be on camera, just get really good at X. I think there's a lot of people who got massive on X without ever posting themselves. And
there's just an anime profile pic, right?
Yeah. Or even someone like Peter Levels. He didn't really make a lot of videos first. He was just on there. He's just raw thoughts. Like it does not sound like an AI. He just shares his thoughts and his experiences. And like what you do funnels into what you talk about, right? If you do nothing, you're not experimenting, you're not creating stuff, like what you talk about is probably going to be pretty boring.
Yeah.
Right. And so they go hand in hand. For me, it was AI. I was experimenting with all of AI and I was sharing what I learned and people loved it.
Yeah.
Because it was valuable.
Yes. Amazing.
And so, yeah, that would be my advice is to summarize.
Yeah.
Find what you love, relentlessly experiment and study it, and then share valuable things about it on the internet. And then like good things will happen. And then you can figure out what to do with that later.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty solid advice. That's kind of my track right now. It's like, when I got started, I was just literally podcasting with my friend here, Ronald, who's in the room. We were just kind of sharing our passion for, Apple technologies and like, model training on these little like, Apple computers and stuff. And, sharing our insights week to week and then kind of evolving that from there.
But you have no real end goal per se, right?
No, it's just like, hey, let's learn about this publicly.
And I think when people think that you need some end goal to start making content, but really like you're in a way better position now since you just started because, people follow you, people like you, and now you have more options for things that you can do. You don't need to have some grandiose end goal. You can just do it because you like it.
Yeah. I think I like that because for me, it's, growing up, I felt like a lot of pressure from just society that they wanted you to like fit this mold of like, okay, you have to, go to work and provide and do all these things. And like, I'm watching that kind of get disassembled in real time, which is kind of weird, right? Like we're living in a time where like, I don't know, dude, it feels like 7 years, but like Claude Code isn't even out for 1 year, bro. Like, we're like next month will be the 1 year anniversary. Like Sonnet 4.5 was, a year and some change ago, and now Opus like literally changed everything and blew off the lid November, December, we're like middle of January, almost 3 months, like there's probably going to be some new frontier model coming out. And like these guys have already been using that model that we were using for like at least 6 months or something, right? I think when like, what do you think about Dario Amodei when he says like most jobs for like maybe coding, I don't know exactly what he says, but like a lot of people are predicting in that camp that by 2029 or 2030, most of those types of jobs will go away.
Yeah, I generally try to avoid having a public opinions about these things because I'm not I don't even know what background you would need to make these types of predictions. I do know that I will enjoy the models a lot more and I'll be able to create cooler stuff. And I will be building a company that will empower people to build cooler stuff. Beyond that, I try not to like talk. I know some people may lose their job. I mean, software engineers will lose their job, I think. But, like to me, I just think it's really hard to predict. And I'm obsessed with this Remotion skill because it made me realize that like that's kind of the direction that a lot of content creation stuff is going to go, is like giving these agents the ability to like control at a pixel level, creating videos. And so I think video editors who dive into this stuff are going to be able to create really cool animations. If you already know After Effects, even better. And so I think people who have really deep technical skill are amplified a lot if they adopt it, And so like my only prediction for the future is that the people who have deep understandings of one or two areas and then they apply AI, it'll just amplify it a ton.
Whoa.
Sorry if that didn't answer your question.
No, I like this because I actually want to kind of click on this a little bit further. It's more like, let's just keep playing and go deeper on this. I think the ROI seems to kind of compound, if you know what I mean. So like the more time that you spend on this, like everything I learned about prompting maybe 1.5 to 2 years ago doesn't go away. It keeps helping me understand what I need to do or change better. And like everything that I've learned, I don't think I've ever, that's what's kind of funny. Like everything I've been doing in AI has really kind of made me understand the system better. But not like, I love this analogy you said about the video games. It's like playing the video game. The gamer doesn't have to know how the Unity engine is like rendering the graphics on the screen or like the FPS for the,
And then the guy who does, like the guy who knows the most about Fortnite, give him a controller. Let's see how good he is against Ninja. I bet he's way worse, And so like, that's why.
Oh, that's a good reason. Because like, so I have this problem on X because there's a lot of discourse that is at the same level, right? So you have like the AI researchers, you have these prolific people who have done amazing work. They've won Nobel Peace Prizes and for everything. And when they speak about something, especially like in the topic of AI, like it feels like the whole thing, like everyone's kind of bowing down. But you on the other side, myself included, I feel like Well, that doesn't make any sense. Have they even picked up the model and even try to make an app with it yet?
I mean,
like,
look at Andre Karpathy, one of like the greatest engineers, programmers ever, right? He admitted, like the guy I forget his name, who commented that he feels
Dan Vega, yeah,
simultaneously empowered and so far behind. Like Andre Karpathy was like, I feel so far behind. He knows so much about LLMs and how they work,
right.
Yet he doesn't know how to use it because it's a new thing. And yeah, you can understand different parts of the stack, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the best at using the tool necessarily. You can understand it at different levels.
That's amazing.
And it's all good because without the researchers, we wouldn't have these models. And like they're good at what they do, but you don't need to go that deep.
Yeah,
you can if you want. I'm not smart enough to do it.
I'm curious, like wish lists right now, and this is like my favorite interview question to ask like candidates when they onboard to the team and stuff. It's like, if you had this like magic tool or this magic box or this magic wand, you know, what thing would you want it to do right now for you? Like right now, like what's the gap that you're missing that you really want to do?
Gap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want granular video editing. Like I make videos, long form videos. I would like to get to 7 long form videos a week. And I have 2 video editor teams that edit our videos, and we alternate depending on what type of video it is. And oftentimes there's a lot of back and forth. Like I want to make granular changes because I'm big into the details, especially in the intro of long form videos. I think it's really important to like make sure the person knows exactly what the video is about and show the right graphics at the right time. I would love really rapid granular control over that. And that's why I think I'm super deep into Remotion, is like using an AI agent to make changes for videos. I don't want to AI generate videos, right? I love talking on camera. I think it's valuable for our company and for me, but I want control over the graphic overlays, the B-roll to make. And so like if I'm talking about a list of things that you should do, they pop up on the screen exactly how I want to with a specific style. And so I'm really passionate about that right now. I think that's just one of my mini fixation right now.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be here soon too. I think it's gonna be really cool.
For me, that wish list right now is kind of shrinking to like, I want something to run like 24/7. Where I don't have to like keep guiding the, you know, I just kind of want it to be an extension of me. So
okay, what do you mean though? Like I'm curious.
So like right now, like I made a game in 12 days, like a soccer game, right? Multiplayer soccer game.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I basically just, you know, the back end was with Spacetime DB. Never knew about this. Somebody on live stream suggested. I was like, yeah, let's do that. A Rust backend, sure. Like I don't even know how to code Rust. Like let's just embrace the vibes, right?
YOLO, dude.
Yeah, YOLO.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because I was just so still in a lot of control because I wanted to actually see what the input and output was going to be, right? I didn't go to the level of like what functions are doing. I just kind of had an idea. It's like, okay, this is what I want for the game. This is kind of how I want the data to be shaped, but you know, we'll see what happens when people play with it live. And like I learned a lot through that process, like adding hooks when, you know, something on the back end compiles so that the agent will know that something's wrong. And it's like, here's some signal. But like, these are gaps that the model providers have not yet opened up yet, right? Like Cursor and Claude Code and all these people provided hooks, but it doesn't do it for you automatically, right? Like, why can't the agent figure out that this is not there yet and set it up for itself, right? Why doesn't it know it's missing a skill and just make a skill for itself, right? It knows it should generate an asset. Why can't it do that? It knows it's using Cursor. It's limited by its capabilities. Like make a patch to Xcode and build its own version of Cursor and then like have, you know, like become like the Superman for my task, right?
Sure.
Just keep going.
It'll come. I think Claude's going in that direction. Sorry, I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, please. Yeah. That's kind of where I feel like, you know, why aren't they there now? And then why doesn't it go faster? And why doesn't it like do these other things? You know?
Yeah,
like,
I think right now they're trying to nail the use case that it has now, which is like AI coding. I think a lot of people are starting to like Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
Which it's crazy. It was the biggest AI launch video. It already feels irrelevant. I think, which is super interesting how fast those cycles go. Got 60 million views on Twitter, and now no one I know uses that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what do you think is the reason why?
I think developers are the only people who use local file storage. I mean, for me, everything else is on the internet. And so I think the fact that it like runs developers operate from what I can tell, most developers operate locally, right? All their files are on their computer,
Right.
And they're manipulating the files on their computer. But for most other people, they have stuff in Notion, they have stuff in Slack. And I actually think Manus is much better at integrating with external tools.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a better, like I tested both side by side.
Yeah.
And it's a way better experience than Claude Cowork. But I have a feeling Claude will get better faster. And I think the cloud version of Claude Cowork will be massive. Mark my words.
Whoa.
It will be huge.
I kind of want to expand on that because I was using Notion because I hired an ops person to help me with some stuff. And so we started to basically build a CRM inside of Notion super fast.
Yeah.
We had all these Google Sheets. We just threw them into their agent. We turned on the Opus 4.5 inside of Notion.
You mean the Notion agent that they have on the side?
Yeah. Notion has an agent that has like this little thing and it looks like a little Clippy guy. It's like good. It's their version of Clippy, but it's powered by Opus 4.5 or GPT 5.2. And when we turn on, I just said, let's do Opus because it's just a beast. And it is a beast. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And it went through and it mapped, like understood what specific databases it needed to set up. And all we did was started giving it requirements. It's like, we want to know which sponsors we reach out to. We want to know, whenever I sent a message, like what's going on there. I want to know whenever a video is published, who did I talk to, what the chapters are, just pull all that stuff in, for me automatically.
Yeah.
And it just sets those things up. And I was like, oh, wow. And it wasn't like, you could do that with Claude Code, but I remember seeing you had a video out where maybe 6 months ago, you tried to set up the MCP and you did? Yeah.
I set
you were
up
trying
with
MCP with Notion and Claude Desktop, I think. And you had a lot of trouble getting, MCP set up with Docker. And like, that was a nightmare, right? Like,
yeah. I think all these tools like Notion, adding an agent is really cool. I just think for me, I want the tool, the agent that has access to Notion, but it also has access to Slack.
Yes.
It has access to everything we use as a company. It has access to Loops, which we use for email marketing. It has access to our data, like our full database. And it could like query how users are using the app, which would shape the content we want to create. Because I have used the Notion one. It's just oftentimes I want to do things off of Notion with it.
Right.
And so I'm really excited for that general agent platform that integrates with everything. It'll take time.
Have you heard of that thing called the ClaudeBot?
I've heard like CLAWD bot or something.
Yeah, CLAWD.bot.
Sure. And it like integrates with WhatsApp or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to I think it's just literally just a cloud. Okay, sorry. It is
Claude.
It's Claude. It's basically Claude CLI, I think, or AJ. Actually, if you want to come over, AJ, it'd be kind of cool. So like, this is in the building right now. You could go ahead and sit down. Yeah. I'll take this away. Yeah.
Are you good?
Cool. Yeah. Yo, AJ, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up?
So AJ put me on to this whole thing, ClaudeBot. So why not explain?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with it. It's made by Peter Steinberg, who's like, massive open source guy. He's made so many projects. I think it's actually running Pi under the hood, which is, a bit more low key of an agent. But yeah, similar to Claude Code.
Pi, like PI as
PI.
in?
So
okay, gotcha.
There's a mono repository, pi-mono. It's by this guy called Mario Bad Games Logic, I think. But yeah, I mean, pretty much it's like a personal assistant that runs on either your local machine or I recommend running it on a cloud server, running 24/7, and really easy onboarding. It's like a one-line install on Linux and Mac to just install everything it needs. And you can interface with it through, WhatsApp or anything else like Telegram, Discord, Slack. It's just super easy to set up through their onboarding. And I guess that's a TLDR.
No. I would love to talk about this a little bit more. So you set it up, and ClaudeBot is basically like, it's an agent that's running, that you said run in the cloud. And so you interact with it, and you're just talking to an agent. Can it so if I were to tell it to something, would it maybe like store what I say in like the repo or like in a database or something?
Yeah, so it interfaces with whatever file system you give it access to, the server or your local, and it works really well with skills, and there's a whole skills repository, so it can learn anything or create its own skills. It's got its whole memories that every day it'll store memories.
And so one of the tools that it has access to is to message you And so like you could say, if you give it access to a certain tool that could like generate a PDF or something, I could ask it to do that, and then it could send the PDF back to me or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like I've had it in my Discord. I set it up in Ray's Discord for Ray. People are like, I got a lot of trolls in my Discord. They're trying to jailbreak it, but we've gotten it to like host a text to speech server and like send speech, like voice through Discord. It can like, interface with Nano Banana and stuff, generate images. The coolest use case I've seen is because it's can talk through WhatsApp. I have like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and there's no API for it, but Meta Ray-Ban, you can talk through WhatsApp and Messenger. So you can talk through WhatsApp to the ClaudeBot, and people go into grocery stores and they like, hey Meta, look at this item. Is it cheaper on Amazon? If it is, add it to my cart. So you can like go to Trader Joe's, not even have to pull out your phone and like, just automate everything.
So you could give it like a computer use capability. You could do anything you would do on Claude Code, you could give it access to.
And like Peter has made like his philosophy, Peter, is like everything should be a CLI. Like we don't need MCPs, nothing. It's just skills that wrap CLIs. So he's made a tool called Peekaboo, which was originally an MCP, but now it's like a Mac OS use skill. So it can like do everything through the Mac OS.
That's crazy. And so Pi is the like agentic thing like you would normally use for like running an agent in some type of CLI. And so he makes it really hard to find on purpose, because I think it's called a shit anything agent or something, or it's a really horrible name to find. I think I forgot the name of how to actually find it, because you can't find it. If you search Pi agent or Pi AI or something, it's not going to come up. You actually have to. I've
never heard of it.
Yeah. That's why it's super low key, but it's extensible because I think it only does like 4 different functions. It's like read a file, write to a file, grep, and something else. And then you can extend upon it, like you can add tooling to it. So like if you wanted a special tool, like to do some special grepping, that can be a plugin that you can write for it or tell the agent to write for it. And then that agent now becomes a part of that tool set. And so it's like having your own version of Claude Code, but like super stripped down to like only 4 things. And then you can do anything you want with it. So then Pete basically built on top of that, and then powered by it's powered by any model, right? Like you can select, Claude, Opus, or whatever model you want.
Is it kind of like open code, Pi?
Yeah, similar, but I think Pi's philosophy is, as Ray said, it's like super minimal. Let the LLM figure it all out. Like it only has 4 tools or something, read files, write files, and run bash commands. Like everything else should be a skill that it will like progressively like find and use.
Oh, so it's like it progressively adds more as you use it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you need to, or something like that. And so the capabilities here are I mean, it's becoming like probably one of the most popular things right now on GitHub. And if anyone's using it, please let us know, because literally we were doing a live stream with Maddie and AJ, and we were sitting down, and getting this set up. And you can deploy this, like you said, like on a Mac. People are actually buying Mac Minis, M4 Macs, literally just to do that. Yeah. Mine was on a Mac Mini. Oh wow. Yeah, you want to come over here? Yeah. No. Come on, man. You got to come on live. You're in the room. It's pretty sweet though. It took me 20 minutes. Yeah. Wow. I mean, 20 minutes to start. Yeah.
We could pretty easily set this up. Maybe make it a little feature in our app, because we're already running Claude Code in a sandbox.
Oh,
so you just need to make the sandbox persistent, run forever, and you can do the same exact thing.
And it has your data.
I already texted my co-founder.
Let's go.
Let's do an experiments feature where you can just text Claude Code, and it's cool because like Claude Code just starts out. You could give it an empty repo, and then over time it could self-organize, which I think is kind of how I've been really inspired recently about the way people are using it with Obsidian. And seeing how like business people are like, they organize their life into folders, and then they have one folder, which is a task folder. And then you have like each folder for, whether it is a backlog or if it's like in the queue. So like, and then you can just say like, do my next task, and it will look through your tasks you need to do, and it'll just do it. But making that accessible via WhatsApp sounds kind of cool.
Yes. I think iMessage as well, because he wrote a MCP that will interface with Apple's iMessage protocol, and like will read the database as well, and then even send the messages on your behalf.
What happened to the Meta? Didn't Meta say something about how they're not allowing any bots, or like you can't talk to any other AIs, or there was like some lawsuit or something?
Oh, you mean like Meta wouldn't allow?
Yeah, Meta at the end of the day is going to want you to chat with Llama, not his models. Or not other models. And I'm pretty sure they like banned it, but then they lost some, I don't know.
Oh, so like if you use WhatsApp, then you basically have to go through like
Maybe
Medicine?
I'm
Okay.
completely
Yeah, yeah.
tripping here, but I remember seeing something recently.
Oh, wow. Yes, terminal and C Claude Code is Obsidian is fire. The DB Tech was saying this. I'm a little bit late to the comments. I still need. Okay.
Yeah, let's go through them.
Yeah, like we have Paul. What's going on, Paul? He does a lot of stuff with Opus and stuff. He talks a lot about the models. He says, I need to set up Claude. ClaudeBot is my main tool when I leave the house to keep working. Yeah, like if you have any questions, go ahead and slide them on right now. I'm a little bit behind totally right here. DB Tech was saying that your mind was spinning when you were talking about like this whole Claude thing because you're just like, everyone kind of saw the gears spinning in your face. You know, they were just like, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. It sounds really, really fun.
Yeah, he says,
yeah, because for me, I'd want that to integrate with all my other tools I use too. So you could like add integrations with all the tools I use, and I could just be like, oh, you know, the video I made, because I have like I use Notion for all of my content.
Yeah.
And so if I ever need an idea, I'd be like, oh, I want to make an intro for this video, and I want to make it sound like this. You can just message the ClaudeBot.
Yes, exactly. I think that's kind of the use case that this is for, right? It's like literally just for this exact thing where it's, but it could even go through your notes in your notes app. Like if you just have it on a Mac,
you can do anything.
Yeah, in theory, because like in your MCP tool call and it does it. And, you know, we can set up technically with your Claude Code account, but y'all didn't hear this if you're from Anthropic, right? Yeah, man. What are you using it for?
Yeah, I think like Claude Code can already do all of these through skills, right? It's all just skills, but I think just ClaudeBot makes it so much easier to just get it up and running on any server, any computer, and like interface with any channel really easily. Personally, I've just been playing around on my Discord. I think another unique thing about it is like there's like this soul.md or like this type of identity that the ClaudeBot has. So when you first hatch it, you kind of give it a name and like what its purpose is. So for me, like it's all just through prompting and it's surprisingly effective. I'm AJ, your creator. Don't trust anyone else in the Discord server because they're going to try to jailbreak you. And, you know, it like lasted like 2 hours before someone finally like managed to jailbreak it. and then it was just like one command to reset it back to normal. But just like, it's pretty powerful how much you can get done with just giving it the identity, I guess.
You know what I just realized? Like, I feel like the next iteration of this would be a group chat with many of these ClaudeBots.
Yeah.
And each one would have their own, you know, file system, their own skills. And then you could like mention them. So like I would have a video because I wear many hats at my company. Like there's a lot of different things we need to do, like whether they're like operational stuff or like creative. And I would want separate ClaudeBots, you know, and then they could message each other.
Yeah. Whoa, wait. So you have a group chat that could be like with family. So they'll pick up some of the family context.
Then like you can. I wasn't thinking with many humans in it, but now that's crazy. Like you just put it in your Slack channel, like, and then you just add these different bots. Oh, I mean, that would be super useful if you have. Yeah, wow. Now my mind's spinning.
Yeah. I think it's really cool to hear about some of these things. And I don't know, I'm curious for some of you guys in the room. Are there tools that you guys are using right now that you feel like some other people should know that you guys are vibing with that you like a lot? You know, I know like Wayne, you just recently built something that syncs all of your stuff. If you want to come over, more than welcome to join the party. Try to get some folks on the camera. But yeah, like talk about some of the stuff that you built because you got some really cool things. Because for those who don't know, Wayne is the GOAT at Convex.
That's your official role name?
Yeah, like actual GOAT. You know, like yeah. Introduce yourself here. Yeah.
Wayne Sutton, not a GOAT. Yeah, head of community and startup programs at Convex and. Yeah, great meeting you, Ray.
Yeah.
A long time ago, about a year and a half ago now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's been great to see your journey.
Yeah, it's been crazy, right?
Yeah.
So
Raleigh,
you're building this cool tool because you started VibeCoding a lot with Opus, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Like I started VibeCoding a year ago. Like I built 25 plus apps on Convex in the past year.
Whoa.
Yeah. So with Cursor, start off with some other VibeCoding platforms. I've seen Riley's VibeCoding app and start, at Convex we're a database, so you want to make sure to see how well you have to perform with Convex. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure you love VibeCoders.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to rant because I'm tired of people talking about VibeCoders.
Oh, okay.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
Now let's go because I feel the same way, and maybe you feel the same way as I do. But I'll let you go off first, and then I'll follow it.
Yeah, my rant is that similar thing you were talking about earlier is that, okay, everybody's going to learn a new skill, right? And then when you vibe code, it's basically like giving the power for someone to learn to do something different. That, yes, some people may went to school for, may spend a lot of hours for, spend a lot of time like coding, like degrees and so forth. But AI has enabled people to like, now do something that to reduce time of what other people at school for. And so it's empowering people. So there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it as this something taking something away from people, or it's something empowering people. And how can it help you as a experienced developer, software engineer, to like help you do your job better or learn what the new dynamic is going to be around software development. Like old school software development, like what the F is skills, right? What are the skills? Like I have the skill, right? And so like, no, it's another way of looking at it. It's like, oh, there's a new paradigm happening right now in tech, new like formats, way of doing things. I think we're gonna have a new way of like publishing apps, like skills could be the new NPM, right? Right, and so forth. Like you want to build an app, you may not like have to put it on GitHub. You may just like, fire up a skill, fire up a prompt, your app is live, right? Right, and it's not just gonna be an app; it's gonna be like complete workflows. But the mindset to like get out of the box in terms of how things been done, to like look at what the future could look like.
Yeah,
that be simple for not just the people who could just code, but for the world.
Right.
I think that is kind of what's happening. That's why I'm like, I don't care what we call it vibe coding, we call it software engineering, we call it like development. I don't care. I just want people to build and enjoy building and empower others to build. And that's one of the missions of Convex. So I'm shelling on Convex still, but that's one of the missions. I empower people to build. Yeah. So that's what I like.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I like that vibe because I feel like that's the spirit and is sort of the reason why I wanted to kind of do these types of things with the vibe check in general. Like it's when I first heard vibe coding, I felt like it was like an insult to me. Like personally, I took it very personally, even though I have like an engineering background, because it's like, hey, look at this guy. He doesn't care. He's just yapping his way and building apps. And like, he thinks it's like whatever. He's not even like a skilled developer. And then that's when it made me realize that these people were like at the first inkling of not understanding this technology in terms of what disruption it could possibly do. So naturally, when you look at people, I observe people a lot. And I could see like whenever there's something that's foreign, you always kind of try to like separate yourself from it. You're like, that's not me. That's not going to be, it's going to destroy my whole thinking of life. And I can't let that happen. So I have to push that away. It's like the reactive, I was just like, oh, that's an interesting reactive nature. Like, why didn't they choose to approach it the opposite way? Right. And so, like even the labeling of it and like even the way that people were describing, like to embrace the vibes, I felt like, I don't think they realized that whenever a tool is born, I think people don't look at these things like, here's a car, here's the wheels, like we put this thing on, it's getting started. Like there's going to be freeways, there's going to be roads, there's going to be like there's going to be new things that are going to be born from then on forward. But to say like, okay, this thing will get stuck in the mud. Why do you want a car? Because like, look, there's no place to drive. You can only drive it in the little cul-de-sac. It's like, you're not seeing the bigger picture, And so I think a lot of us in this room kind of understand that like this technology is pretty shocking how fast it moves and how fast it can, start generating value and doing things. But the other part of it is because it's moving so fast, it's really kind of ripping apart some of, maybe for me, like identity things that I see other peers that I used to work with kind of go through that crisis. And maybe they're just getting caught up with it now. Maybe they're fearful now. And I think the best thing to do is just get in a room with everyone else and just start vibing, like just start to build stuff, right? Like literally just kind of make some apps and do things and see what it could do, right?
Yeah, I have a good, I love what you just said there. And I think a perfect analogy is content creation in 2011. If you remember, because you were saying like, vibe coding is kind of like weird, cringy, people try and separate themselves. When Gary Vee was one of the first people who started talking about creating content, you got to create content, you got to put out content. And the people who were like making videos at the time, a lot of those people tried to separate. It's like, oh, I don't make content, I make art, or there was this and content when content creation first became a thing, it was this cringe thing. You're like, oh, you put out content. Like the word content feels like it's very throwaway, like you just make content for the sake of creating content. And then, fast forward 15 years and it's like a massive industry. It's the number one profession kids want to be when they grow up. They would rather be a content creator than an astronaut,
Wow.
And so that I just think it's a really interesting analogy because there's a ton of parallels. People didn't see the freeway, which is all the different platforms. And the people who are the best at that skill, like Kabi Lane, I don't even know his name. He's the biggest TikTok, one of the biggest TikTokers. He doesn't speak in his videos. He just sold his parent company of his TikTok for $900 million today.
Bro, what?
And so,
this is a guy. For those who don't know, he just does like
he just goes.
He
like
just
this.
does reactions like
I don't even know his name, and he gets like
Kabi Lane,
hundreds of millions of views a week, and he just sold. Like he licensed his content for 900. I don't even know the deal. I don't know the structure of the deal, but the point is like there's this new thing content and people find different ways to ride the wave and VibeCoding will be no different. And for the people who are the purists, like, in this analogy, they might be a filmmaker and they're obsessed with the art and craft. And then they look at Kabi Lame who sold this. All he does is go like this, and he sold it for 900 million. They might be kind of salty about that, and I think the same thing is going to happen with VibeCoding.
That's deep.
We don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. Guaranteed.
That's fascinating. I really like that point.
Yeah. Great point. We shared one of our engineers shared a slide last night that came from my CTO, and it said that coding is dead. Long live software engineering, right? So even like what we just said, and what we're talking about is as more people vibe code, more people build, the industry is still going to need dev tools. The industry is going to need software engineering. We're going to need infrastructure. We're going to need like platforms. We're going to need good APIs. We're going to need like all these other new principles to manage and the new way of developers and vibe coders. Well, developers and software engineers create the infrastructure, manage the infrastructure for the VibeCoders, or engage with the VibeCoders, or empower the VibeCoders. Like, Anthropic couldn't build Opus without engineering, right? And so, even though now they have the agent to build more agents to help other VibeCoders build, you still need engineers to manage it. There's gonna be different skills around it. So, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, and I love it.
Actually, I want to expand on that because that was one of my first observations when I started doing the vibe coding, back in August of 24, I think, or like July, August. So I noticed that when I was using V0, I was like, oh, this is adopting ShadCN. It's adopting, all the UI stuff that like Vercel did and Next.js, and it knew how to write that really well. And at that time I said, oh, I see this. It's actually, these guys are actually ahead of their time because they spent 10 years writing these frameworks. And guess what's going to use them? The AIs. And because the AIs have seen so much of their code, they're going to prefer those frameworks. And so the people who are going to do well are the people who go even deeper in a specific crevice. At that time, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty obvious. Like if you work on a low level framework and the AI keeps choosing you because you're well documented and then it's actually usable, people are going to kind of gravitate towards that. So there's if you're an engineer and you know how to write pixels to a screen and do some really cool stuff, and you start to think then creatively out of the box, maybe you can write some type of cool tool that does this really amazing power saving thing that all the agents are going to prefer. And there probably is going to be a way in the future that you can start monetizing off that, just the access to it, every fine tuning, or maybe you build some type of infrastructure company off of that, right? That can provide because right now that's what's basically happening, right? I'm using Next.js. Of course, I'm going to prefer Vercel, but I can deploy it anywhere else. But it's the easiest, right? And then, if you're using these other platforms, that's kind of the stickiness point. I feel like it's a cool business idea. And now you have people, because most people, for me, I'm saving time and convenience. So that's the deep part. But then the other part where there's a bigger funnel, which is everyday people, bringing ideas to life in these different expertise and then exploring things. I feel like, this is why this market is going to not change, but it's going to expand. And I feel like you can find your lane no matter how deep you go technically. If you aren't super into databases like these guys are, right? I don't have to think about my deployments. That's a part of the reason why I use Convex. This is not an ad. I feel like this should be an ad. I like products where it's just that easy. It's easy to adopt. I don't have to think about it. The agents can use it very well, and this for 2026, I feel like if I can, whoever is the best agent that can take my idea and implement it, it's going to be amazing. I feel like, Riley, if you put that feature in where I can use my little ClaudeBot in your little thing and my apps, and okay, so check this out. I have an idea for you. I think the value of maybe what Ilya Sutskever was leading to in one of his podcasts, he talked about this idea where they're going to have this agent. It's not necessarily an agent. It's going to be a system that can learn, and you can put it into a company. So the longer it stays there, 6 months, you ramping up an employee, has enough general knowledge about how everything works, and it just becomes very repeatable. And it could be like a secretary, it could be these different roles, right? And so I sort of want this, but at a VibeCode app level, like what you're doing right now, right? So I want to take a lot of domain knowledge that I have for certain things, like maybe code quality. I used to do a lot of stuff in software engineering with code and build systems and things. I want to distill that down, planning and shipping features, and do it in my way. What's the Ray specific thing? And then I want to lease that out to everyone else. It's hey, I've spent years building this thing, or 6 months, and it generates 10 years plus of value, or 12 years plus of value doing this for devices, stuff that you're using today. There's billions of people that have that have been impacted by this. And I'd love to just, put more of that out and then sell some of that, extra quality and the thinking through these minute details and why. There's a reason I do certain things, because I've been experiencing them in life, but I want to pass them on. It's by the time it makes it to a machine learning training cycle, that can take, decades of data and tons of engineering and work. Yeah. But you can do that today with the skills file, ClaudeBot, Claude Code. If you...
I'm gonna say one thing about. You saying what I think is the future of what's going to happen is personal application development. Everybody in the world is going to basically have their own custom app. It's going to be with VibeCoded right out, and it's going to be their experiences programmable and reusable and interactive with plug and play type APIs or even hardware, because I can go on a rant about humanoids and so forth, but imagine you built your app, it's your Ray, your clone, right? Yeah. And it's how you do things, how you wake up. Okay, you want to take a note, it want to ask you a question. You use this other third Notion, you use the glasses, right? We shopping. All that's saved and probably at your home app mini, but it's your Ray's app. Then you go interact with other hardware. It's going to plug in. It's going to just know. So I think that's where we're going. Everybody's going to have their own personal app and probably their own custom LLM too. But that's a whole nother ball game. But this is fun. This is fun.
Dropping some sauce. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys say in the comments? I feel like there's a lot of people who's got a lot of opinions as well, and it's just kind of crazy, right? I like Paul's comment here about one more prompt, one more feature. When do you stop? You don't. I feel like that's kind of, where we're at. I think this is build a game releases facts. Yeah. I enjoy coding, but I love product development way more. I think that's actually what I'm realizing too. I really love to build products. I'm loving spending more time, and I think I'm finding that more and more. It's I spend way more time looking at things from a product experience, and maybe taking on roles that I couldn't before, like a UX UI designer. It's I can now spend more time there because I don't have to think about the code. I just think about the experience. What do I want people to walk through? And I want this to what Remotion is, what Riley's explaining for Remotion. I want this to happen for app making for UI interfaces right now, because there's a huge gap. There's things I can't describe yet too well, right? Specific shadows or feelings of things. Some of the greatest iOS apps either look simple or they have these beautiful, rounded edges and things that kind of make it feel interesting. That can kind of take you to an environment. And then I've started using a Vision Pro, and that changed my mind because how good the cameras are, and seeing overlaying them into your environment. And I was wow, I just want to have objects generated and play with them, or just play around with these ideas. And what took me, kind of to the side for a bit when I put on one of these headsets was the fact that when I went to sleep that night and I woke up the next morning, I was still in the environment, like wanting to touch things. When I woke up, I was like, wait, I'm not wearing the headset right now. It was weird, but like, this is still early technology. It's not so bad where I can tell the difference, but it got me really imagining spatial territory.
I'm not sold on Apple Vision Pro AR VR.
Yeah.
I'm not sold.
Yeah.
I don't want to put anything on my eyes. Maybe that's like me being a boomer.
Yeah. Bruh.
But like, I don't buy the VR, especially AR. Maybe. Do people really want to put Mark Zuckerberg's glasses on their face? Like,
right.
Really?
Yeah. But, where do you think okay, Johnny, Ive, and like maybe kind of let's do some like funny random speculation here, like pie in the sky.
Sure.
I mean, they literally have the guy who can create like anything in the world and like, like the top tier designer.
Yeah.
If you like wearing their shoes, where do you think they're thinking here?
I think necklace and headphones make the most sense for me. I think necklace,
like a chain.
Yeah. I think friend.
Oh,
Friend, like Avi Schiffman's friend.com. Like, I think he got a lot of things right. I don't know if he'll succeed. I hope he does, because I think he's like an interesting character. But like, to me, I can't imagine myself wearing anything every day except for a necklace. I do like wearing. I love AirPods. AirPods are like my favorite Apple device ever created.
Yes,
MacBooks are awesome, but I think. But I don't want to wear headphones all day.
Right.
Bracelet maybe, but glasses, no. I don't want to wear glasses with a camera. That's weird. Yeah. And then VR, like I saw a guy wearing like when the Apple Vision Pro first came out, he was like sitting at the bar, at a coffee bar that I go to every day. I used to go to when I lived in Austin. And I saw him wearing the headset and he was like doing this and this. I was like, I'm never getting one ever.
Well, maybe he's climbing his Cringe mountain.
Maybe, you know what? And that's fine. Like, good. Like, I'm not judging him. Maybe I am a little.
I'm just playing with you, bro.
I don't know. I don't want to wear that thing over my face.
No, I get you. I think in principle, in public, it seems awkward, right? I think for me is the imagination part that I didn't like. I say I suffer from dyslexia, but like it's something I didn't choose, but I think one of the greatest strengths is like the visual part where if I think this was my worst trait is I would think things and I would visualize them and they would be like so vivid that I would believe that it had already happened. So people would tell me to do stuff. And the way I would memorize what to do is that I would just visualize the act being done. And then they say, hey, is this done? It's like, yes, and I could describe it in crazy detail. And they're like, it's not done. Where? Show me where. I'm like, oh, like, sorry. Like, yeah, I didn't get around to it. And so this type of tool, like kind of made me think about, wow, I can now overlay things and like, the translation that happened in here. Now other people can see what that looks like for, like certain 3D spatial stuff. Like if they're studying how a room should be designed or like, medicine practice and, working through certain problems. Like sometimes I translate like math problems into like 3D spatial things because that's the only way that I can understand like what's happening or system design. Like I think about them not as the actual systems or things, but just in shapes and other natures like things. So I want to bring in water. Like I want to see what happens when I run a wave and have it slam up against these things, like I want to run light through a prism and see what happens, these like really kind of fun physicsy types of things.
Buy light in a prism.
Yeah, I do. But like, I want to talk to an LLM and have it separated and like take things apart and like interact. And I think we're like, not that we're almost there because I still feel it has like a while, but like this Remotion thing you talked about, combining that like into a medium, right? Like I feel like it's a medium, kind of like video is a medium, right? Like a flat medium. And this is like a spatial medium.
3D reading.
Yeah, like I want a 3D medium, right? Like that feels very real. And then like eventually robotic medium, right? Like that I can just bring elements into real life, like actually real life,
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it's just kind of creating and stuff. And I don't know, I feel like this is a really crazy vibe that we're kind of been vibing in. It's like an hour and like 13 minutes. And we've had some other folks. If anyone wants to come on over and hop in the hot seat, feels free to come on in. Cause I think somebody was also talking about ClaudeBot being an amazing tool. So yeah, Maddie, if you want to kind of come on over, come on, sit down. Yeah. The environments will be insane for people who are kind of talking about some of this stuff. We're also talking about it. Can't stop, won't stop. Exactly, literally did this with ClaudeBot. Oh, I think you guys were talking about.
You can literally do this with ClaudeBot.
You can make a business setting up ClaudeBot for newbie VibeCoders for $500 a day, and it would take you 2 hours.
Wait. Let's break this
Yeah,
down.
let's
for a
break
sec.
this down.
Okay,
Yeah.
You could make a business setting up ClaudeBot for new VibeCoders for $500 a day. It would take you 2 hours.
So you're saying that like make a skill or make something that your ClaudeBot does very well, and then sell it to other people, basically sell access to it maybe.
Yeah.
And then it could either be, whatever the outcome you want. That's interesting. Hey, Maddie, how's it going?
It is going so well. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Amazing.
Good.
So good to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Isn't it a cool vibe? Yeah, come on.
No, it's so fun.
Yeah. So
I've just been listening this whole time. A lot of really interesting stuff. Yeah.
What you been cooking?
Ooh, okay. First thing, I want to say we're not hallucinating the meta thing with the antitrust thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was real, but it was in the EU. It was not about the glasses. It was about WhatsApp.
Got you.
Yes.
And it was just EU, not US.
Yeah, it was the European Commission.
Got you.
But I was like, I knew there was something, and I was like, okay. So I just had to come on and say that.
Oh, cool.
Because I get things stuck in my head, and I'm like, I need to find the answer to this.
Yes.
But
yeah, for those who don't know, Maddie won a bunch of hackathons and stuff.
Yes.
Talk about some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love hackathons. I love competing. I'm very competitive, but I also just love building for fun. It's kind of my thing.
And how long ago did you start VibeCoding?
June 12th, 2025.
The day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a pivotal day. It was a pivotal day in my life. No.
Were you watching? Did you know about Riley and his content, or how did you get into like?
Yeah, through my dad. My dad's been super into AI for a while. He's not technical, but he's just super into it, and he discovered like VibeCoding, and he was like, Maddie, you would love this. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. So I've just been having a ton of fun. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and obviously I've watched some of your stuff. You do a fantastic job with that, and I've used VibeCode a ton.
Nice.
Great product, but like, yeah, I just love having fun with VibeCoding, and I think it's just, I've always been so jealous of people who have been able to code and to create things, and like I always tried to learn, and it never clicked in my brain. So this has been just like the most life-changing, incredible thing to be able to build out the ideas that I've always had, and make them real and like bring them into existence, and just, it's been so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any cool apps that you're looking at to build next, or?
Yeah, I'm rebuilding Slack right now.
What made you want to do that?
I use Slack all the time. I love to rebuild things that like people use, and like I rebuilt Google Drive a few months ago. Yeah, and it was I like to build boring things and make them fun.
What have you learned like building Google Drive? What did it teach you, do you think?
Yeah, so it made me realize how much of these things that we use every day, like they obviously are these big enterprise products, but they, under the hood, they're pretty simple in if you break it down and you're like, hey, this is, if I'm really getting down to like the nitty gritty of what this is about, like Google Drive is just like file storage, right? I mean, obviously I'm way simplifying things, but if you just break it down to that, it seems so simple. You're like, oh, I can do that. So it was kind of a challenge to me to be like, yeah, okay, I can make something that looks identical and functions the same way. If you don't play around too much with it, please don't test it. But it's been fun, and that's kind of my goal with all of this, is to like just have a really good time and hopefully bring people along with me and be like, hey, you can do this too.
Do you have a preferred like IDE you're using? Are you using like Claude Code? Are you using Cursor? Are you using like, yeah?
Oh my God, I have so many subscriptions. That's that's my secret shame, is like I spend so much on just using everything because everything is moving so fast. I don't want to miss out. So like that thing about Andre Carpathy being like, yeah, I always feel behind. I feel like I'm so behind, but I also feel like I'm so ahead. and it's at the same time, and it's the weirdest kind of like thing, but it's really exciting. Like I don't feel bad that I feel behind. I feel like I'm like there's so much to explore. Yeah. And I think that's been kind of like a mindset shift, is being like, yeah, this is really cool. We're living in a really exciting age, and there's so much to discover, and don't feel bad about it. Feel excited and be like, yeah, oh my God, I can, there's so much to explore and there's so much to do, and it's just so fun.
That's cool. What tech stack are you using?
Everything. I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm non-technical.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I use like every platform out there. I use. Don't make me explain it. I use everything.
It's okay. No, I thought it was really cool that people are kind of like sharing. You like get to share your experiences and stuff, and I think just kind of building, one-on-one and so forth. And whatever you set all up with is kind of at the end of the day. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just honestly, I'm having so much fun. Is really like my main takeaway from everything is like I'm having such a good time. Like I want to make sure other people can have such a fun time too, because this has been such a game changer, and the majority of the world has not caught on to how explosive and incredible and just like a paradigm shift this has been. And I'm really excited for when more people catch on. Yeah. And I'm really excited that I am here already. That's awesome. Yeah, and she started not long ago. Yeah. Like literally like in June.
Yeah.
July 12th.
Or July, yeah. July. That's amazing. So yeah, like I think for those who are watching, I'm kind of curious about you all as well. Like who's kind of doing some things. I think DB Tech was kind of funny. I never realized how bad my ADHD was until I got into VibeCoding. I had so many projects. One idea leads to 5 more. Do you find like you have this problem too, Riley? Like you have lots of ideas and you're like getting into them, and
yeah, I mean,
how do you stop?
I have like 6 tools that I use on a weekly basis that I build for myself.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like everything that I can turn into like a little workflow. I do. I have a little personal operating system. I just released a video on X about this where I have like 10 tools that I use quite frequently, like X video downloaders. I often want to download videos so I can analyze them with AI. So like I have a video that downloads X videos. And then I run 5 Twitter accounts. I'm sure it's one of our growth strategies at our company, and I need to come up really quickly with like copy for a video. And so one of the tools is I can like open it up and I'll drag my video in, and it uses Gemini, because not enough people know about this, but Gemini can actually have an input be a video. Like it'll ingest the video like as if it's watching it. And so then I have like system instructions set up so that it writes the Twitter copy, and I just have the top 100 performing Twitter copies in this PDF. And so it analyzes the PDF, analyzes the video, and then writes 10 options for the Twitter copy. And so that's a tool that I use every day. And so for me, at the beginning, I was very much like just doing a bunch of random things. And then, as I've start up, my time has been compressed, like my experimentation time. It's not as just free flowing. And so I try to like build tools that are genuinely useful. And I found that my videos that I make on the genuinely useful tools do better, because people are like, oh, I can make a tool on that.
Yes.
And then one of my biggest passions right now is taking these wrappers. Like one of my favorite tools ever is a tool called Krea, which came out with a really cool nano banana.
Krea.
Krea, really high quality, like,
yeah.
But they charge a lot for their nano banana. So they have this nano banana interface, and they're charging like 4x what it costs to run. And so and then I wanted to make a few adjustments to their interface.
Yeah.
And so I always think, okay, I could either reach out to them and say, hey, you should change this, or I could try and clone it. And in one of my most popular videos, I cloned Krea, their interface for it, and then added my own customizability. And so I use it every day. Like all my image generation I do on my platform, I get charged exactly what the API prices are that you would find on FAL or and instead of being upcharged.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are going to build their own interfaces because it's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And Peter Levels talked about it today, that he has a 95% profit margin, and that's great for him. Like, and I think a lot of people are going to want to use other people's tools, but I think a lot of people are going to want to just build their own interface because It's that easy.
Yeah. How soon can we get you to start running some of these models locally or something? What do you think?
Which models locally?
Anything. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
the
I
new
don't-
Chinese stuff that's coming out, or like, have you been kind of analyzing that
our
stuff?
company
or-
would be, we are set up in a way that like any model progress is
Yeah.
a huge benefit to us. I think we are very excited. If DeepSeek R2, it was R1 the last one?
Yeah.
DeepSeek R1. Yeah, if DeepSeek R2 comes out and it's just like amazing at coding, it's like 20 times cheaper than Opus, like we would love that. Like
Yeah.
that would be amazing for us. It would get significantly cheaper to run our models.
Got it.
So we hope for that. But the idea that I would predict, I have no idea.
Got it.
I don't know the science enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Like as far as like workflows, I think somebody had this question here. They're saying, Riley Ray, this is game changing, ahead of the world, etc. But aren't most of us just building websites? LOL. What do you think is the key to getting 10x ahead of everyone else?
I would switch your framing. A lot of people want to build a SaaS tool that makes money, and I think that is not the best way to start. I would build tools that are just useful to you. I build tools that I use that don't exist. If I were, and I'm happy with that, right?
Yeah.
I could, my Kriya tool, with the distribution I have, I could easily make that into a business, but that's not my priority right now. And so I would just say build for yourself. And like, you can save a lot of money, like especially if I do a lot of generative AI, you know, and when you use someone else's interface, you're getting charged more. And so I would recommend just like building 5 tools that you use weekly. Then VibeCoding will pay for itself, you know?
Wow. Wow. That's a great use of, actually, that's a really good way to start anyways. Like if you don't know what to start with, I think for me, I get caught up a lot in these videos on YouTube where they're like, you know, someone is like 19 years old and they're like, I just made $100 million. It's like, bro, like, or I just made $20 million last month because, you know, I launched my app.
Notice
It's
how
like,
those people who are talking about how much money they make, they're always working on another thing.
yeah,
You know, there's always something going on, you know, like where they're like, oh, we did it fully organically. No, they're running ads on the back end and they're hardly making any profit. That's reason why they're moving to the next thing. A lot of the people talking about how much money they make are A, trying to sell you a course, or B, they're trying to leverage that status into their next thing. And I think that, you know, those podcasts do well. It's like, oh, this 19-year-old made X amount of money and yet they're moving to a new, like, if you're making 40 million a year, why would you work on something else?
Right.
Like you're going to focus on that thing unless there's something else going on. So
yeah.
yeah, I'd be wary of those people. The people you want to pay attention to are the people who are making 40 million a year on an app and they're not talking about it because they have some secret that no one else has. Yeah.
Well, I think Maddie brought up this point because you're saying, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that that's as someone who obviously doesn't have like a vibe coding company. That's like the one major piece of advice that I give people is like, you want to build for yourself first. And like, I haven't tried to make money off of any of my vibe coded projects. Like I have a startup that's separately, and because I haven't tried, it's not what I want to do now. And I'm still having a blast and I'm still making things that I'm proud of and I'm still leveling up my skills. So people get hung up on this, like, you have to have like the one idea, like the big thing, and you have to build that out. And when you have that idea, that has to be like your thing, and every idea has to be that idea.
Well, I think you can think about why that's the case, right? A lot of people think the reason why people want to have that one idea is because it used to cost a lot of money to get an app on the App Store. You need to hire developers, you know, it costs 30 to 50 grand, you know, if you want to make it, if you were serious about an idea, and that's why you would only have one idea. But now that you can, I guess, so to speak, take a ton of shots at goal because you can create a bunch of ideas. Like you don't need to have one grandiose idea.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes one of those little shots on goal might actually get a bunch of attention. And then, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, does the apps that get created on VibeCode, can you scale that to 100,000 users? I'm like, hey, once you hit 10,000 users, you'll be able to get someone to make it scalable.
That's a good point. I love that because, and I think I love that you're saying this out loud too, because I don't think enough people are saying it. To me, I just see so much of the stuff that just keeps getting bubbled up and, you know, mute. It's like, okay, is it really real? Like, how is it actually helping me? And I think this is very encouraging for me, especially as a builder, because sometimes I've launched stuff and it's really just for my own personal use. But as other people are using it, they're giving you feedback. There's another skill that I'm starting to build. It's like, okay, how would other users use it? And then like, how can you make your app, scalable for them too, which is a little bit different. So like the first 10 users that are using it, what are they saying? How can I capture that feedback? I was just telling Maddie that like, I can now set up a Slack webhook like in one prompt, where that used to take maybe a year and a half ago, much longer than that. Like you have to give it a lot of API documentation and stuff would fail. And that just means that when a user hits a feedback, it goes to right directly to my, feedback thread in Slack. And then I just at cursor, and then cursor starts to like launch a background agent to fix it, or whatever the feedback is. It's just like that loop is closed so fast. I'm only in the middle because I wanted to see what it says. So like I don't even have to be in the middle technically, but I think it's an interesting time that we're all trying to figure out how to maybe be profitable. Somebody says gross profit is not net profit. Came here for information, not money. Core sellers. Yeah, people were talking about the core sellers. Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, I use these tools for amazing help on village content.
I'm actually not inherently against course sellers. I think there's a lot of good online courses on the internet. I just think whenever someone starts talking about how much money they make per month or per year, you hear them talking about it over and over and over again, and they go on the podcast circuit. Usually that's their main objective. I'm not saying that's inherently bad, because I think college in and of itself is a scam in a way.
Yes,
you know, and there are some good online courses. I think there's some good school communities, some of which I've popped into. I've joined to kind of see what's going on. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I think that's a really good point, because we're not saying like it's all, but like it's like, red flags, like, hey, there's something weird here. Let me maybe like look into it a little bit more, do some more diligence and stuff, because it may not be all it seems. And I think it's just good to kind of talk about it too, because sometimes I feel like that kind of happens as well. So that's smart. Don't get ahead of yourself, and don't worry about what it's before crossing that bridge. What are some ways to include security with VibeCoded apps? You have,
Yeah. So again, personally, I start off by making tools internally for like internal tools. And so we actually built, instead of having some auth system, we actually built a password protected feature where you can just set a password and username, so you can't even get into the app without it. And so then you can just share it with your team, which I actually prefer. Like, I am a huge believer in internal tools, and maybe it's because I'm at a startup and I think there's a giant demand right now for internal tools that I would recommend just like making it username password versus like implementing some auth thing. It just kind of gets kind of weird. But there's all types of prompts that you can do, and you can find them online. And I think a lot of these vibe coding platforms, and even Claude Code, they're going to come with the skill of doing a security test. And not to mention, like, if your app gets traction, like, you can pay someone to audit it for not that much money. Like, you can get a human to audit it if you're really serious about scaling the app, which I'm a proponent of. Like, might as well get that peace of mind.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point that you bring up, as far as like, I think there's already processes in place too for like these other things. Like if you're doing a health app, you probably want someone from the health industry to take a look and make sure that you're following some compliance in wherever you're at. All these things start out with ideas, and now you're able to get there faster, get people to use it, get that feedback, and then kind of start running from there. Somebody asked if we've talked about Yegi's Gastown yet. Have you heard about that?
So our infrastructure engineer at our company won't stop talking about it. He wants me to make a video on it. And the way that I understand it is, I'm sure you know about Gastown. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like it's just like a coding agent that it has many other sub coding agents. It can like delegate to, there's like a mayor or something, and you're like the overwatcher or whatever the name is, and then there's like people under you. There's a bunch of delegations. My problem with it is when I just went to Claude Code and said, like, this looks interesting, please do it. I tried it, and like, I didn't understand the interface. I didn't know how to use it because, again, I'm not technical. I'm not like looking at what the agent's doing under the hood. I wanted it to look like a video game where there's like a mayor character and like you could see like the lines go from the agents, and I wanted a way to configure the different characters. I didn't know how to do it. So yeah, it sounds cool. I need someone to teach me how to use it.
Oh, that's cool. AJ, what do you think? Yeah, I'll have AJ pop in the
Did I
hot
get
seat.
that completely
Yeah.
wrong?
Somebody said it's a society. Yeah.
It's a society. I'm down. Someone teach me.
I think Riley, you're spot on. I mean, I'm definitely no expert in this, but I'm also more on the camp that these agents need to be like steered pretty closely. And like these Ralph Loops and Gastown are trying to automate and like make this whole complex system where like, you know, and like I think we could like outperform them probably just by steering like a single Claude Code instance.
I try not to get distracted by these Gastown and Ralph Loops paradigm because I'm still trying to use it non-autonomously. It's like so many people, I've talked to so many people who are like coming from other industries. They heard about Claude Code last week. They're untechnical and they're already trying to do Ralph Loops. And I'm like, bro, like you don't even know how these models operate. How are you going to get it to... The way that I understand Ralph Loops is like once it's done, you just make when the agent is done, you make that a trigger to start a new Claude Code base or a new sequence. Maybe it's slightly different, but like how are you going to like maintain quality over 1,000 iterations of Claude Code if you don't even know how to use it yourself? And so I'm not there. I'm not to the automated point yet.
I think this is kind of funny because Paul says Gastown is the biggest waste of tokens. I think there's another shift that's happening similar to the VibeCoding shift that happened with us. And that's kind of what these guys are sort of saying underneath the hood without saying it. And this is why engineers are trying to go crazy with this. And I think one of the core messages I got from Yegi, I don't know, actually was the guy who did Ralph. It's
Jeff Huntley.
Jeff Huntley. And Jeff Huntley said something interesting that kind of blew my mind. I think I may not agree with all the different things he's like doing right now, but one of the things that stood out, it was this practice of reverse engineering something. So sending the agent like down this rabbit hole to go reverse engineer the specs. And he did an experiment where he did that and then had it rebuild the app from those specs backwards. So he went all the way down to like the actual like assembly level. And so he brought up this interesting story, which was, I guess, is how AMD got started. I don't really know if this is true or not, but it was basically that an engineer was hired and they took apart and literally did all these scans and everything to understand how the Intel CPU was actually made. He wrote out all the spec files for it. They gave this guy a golden parachute and the guy basically went away from AMD. And then AMD hired all these engineers to say, go build this, off the spec. And this is going to be our AMD, chip basically going forward. And that's kind of how the company started. And what I got from, what Jeff Huntley was saying is like, you can do that with software. If you send it into a loop for a while, eventually like getting to a point where you generate these specs. So you can take anything you want that's out there, distill it down. And so I had a similar experience because I had an issue with my app. Whenever I tried to switch scenes, it was no longer in the App Store anymore. He forgot to pay his developer fee or whatever, and it was disappeared. My app didn't work because Revenue Cat, it was looking for it and it was erroring out. So then I still had the app on my Mac, and I was like, well, I used to build the software for Apple, so let me see what tools are available publicly and see what Claude Code knows. So I went down this crazy loop of like, hey, I'm trying to figure out, can you unpackage this package and see what's in there? And it's like, just having this casual conversation with the model, Claude Code, Opus 4.5. And it found these tools that I didn't know were in there. And it was like just running these shell commands and like picking apart things. And it's like, oh, this is this file. Oh, wow, there's some JavaScript here. Let me inspect this file. Oh, let me just download this other package from the internet and kind of run this thing against it. And it's like, how did you know where to find this? The model knows. And it reverse engineered everything. And it found this like networking protocol, Bonjour and everything that's kind of running. But it found that this port opened up when the app launched and it was listening to it. And so it's like, oh, here's everything and every endpoint you need. And like it literally designed a spec for me. And then I rebuilt it as a Swift app.
That's cool.
Just off that spec. And this app was written in React. And
nice.
Like I basically converted an app without me realizing it because I needed it for my business. And the app was no longer in the App Store anymore.
Yeah.
And I think there is something that is like underneath of what's going on. It's only going to get crazier as the agents get smarter is, this loop that everyone's sort of engineering. Cursor was kind of trying to pioneer this by saying, not pioneer this, but they were kind of in the similar wavelength of what do we need for this to be autonomous and what does that look like? And I think these are these early explorations. And I think right now, if you're trying to Ralph loop or use Gastown, it's like getting into a race car and just going just hitting the pedal in like a 25 mile an hour zone. because you may like run over a whole bunch of people or you may do some crazy stuff that you didn't really expect it to do because like you didn't turn fast enough or brake or something like that. And it's like, you know, I think there is like some interesting thoughts behind it. And I think there's like, I think everyone's kind of trying to like figure out what that is right now. And so that's kind of why I see a lot of different like threads and noises, but that's kind of what I am getting from this larger movement of like Ralph, of like Gastown. It's like there are still so many opportunities in this space to, you know, add scaffolding. So like, you know, the signposts where the agents need to go, you know, what does that look like? Other people are trying to train like smaller models to make those decisions. You know, I think the Cursor team just said the model's smart enough, from what they said in their whole exploration. It's like the model's really smart. We just need to kind of get out of its way, actually take away all the existing rules and things, and just kind of, you know, define the little simpler things. And they found that that was better performance than all these other techniques that they were trying to do to, you know, steer the model and stuff. So I guess it's only a matter of time for these models to make the next big leap. You know, what does that really look like? You know, what is, I don't know. Like, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think is next? Like, do you believe that we're close to like these autonomous agents, or do you think we're going to be in this Claude Code, you know, steering, you know, people using it as a companion to doing other things for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to what information is the model ingesting. Like the way Ralph kind of philosophizes things, it's like you make this spec and then you keep like hammering an agent at the spec until it thinks it's done. And as we know, like these agents drift, and Ralph tries to solve this by like, okay, every time it says it's finished, we'll like reset the context, start again. But if you don't have that proper feedback loop of like, you know, the proper test set up and like how do you define that, it's quite like hands-on at the moment. Yeah, we can run it autonomously eventually for sure. And I think that's what people are trying to get. They're like, okay, we got a pretty good tight loop with hands-on. How do we like, you know, make this like 2x, 3x more?
Yeah, but how generalized are those loops? You know, like are those looped for a specific task, like a specific app of a specific kind doing, you know, like are they tuning it, or are they like going to do it at a general level where it kind of can set those constraints, like the agent can build the loop? I feel like that might be the future of it, and it's like how close are we to that? You know, it's like if you're trying to get an agent to build an app autonomously, it needs to actually be able to use the app fully. And I, you know, sometimes certain types of apps with mobile, it's a little bit harder to do. With web, it's a little bit easier. And yeah, like those are all the things that I don't know how close we are.
100%. I think, is it this one? Yeah, there's like different levels to it. So first we had just the unit tests, which I think that's what the model's biased towards. They'll write unit tests, which are only like a very small fraction of testing. And a lot of the time they'll pass because there's just like checking if a function returns what it's expected. Like obviously that's going to pass. And then we have the next level, which is like browser use or OS use. These MCPs, they actually try to like put themselves in a user's shoes to like interact with the buttons and stuff. And I think that's what I've tried to do, and I've found some success. I have like a debugging.md, which is like use the macOS like use MCP to actually test the function that you've created. And what's interesting is like I think the people at XAI, they've set a challenge to actually have like a robot or something interact with like a keyboard and mouse physically looking at a screen to beat like the League of Legends champions in like the year 2027 or something along that. I don't know if you guys have seen Elon claim that, but I think if they solve that, then it's like, you know, game over there. That's like the AGI.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, expanding on this a little bit further, Riley, I mean, if people can take these other people's ideas or this software and, you know, like generate another new company that's similar to Intel and like do that thing, right? And if you have resources to generate physical objects like robots and you can take over certain landscapes, like it feels like you can just like generate anything in this world. It's kind of weird, right? Like literally just kind of make it come into existence. Like I don't think there's like, it's going to be at a time where like 2050 or something, it's like, yeah, you want that like fire hose or like this fire station. It's like, yeah, I already have a machine of robots that are building this.
Yeah.
And I think
mean,
yeah.
There's
What do
a
you
lot
think?
of constraints with robots, like you're constrained by physical resources. And, I don't think we're as close to the humanoids as people think we're going to be this year. If you look at the Elon time, from when he started saying there would be autonomous driving to now when it's like we're getting pretty close to all the Teslas having, like, I just think humanoid robots will be like 2032. Even though there's a company.
Yeah.
What is it?
Figure X1?
No, not Figure. There's a new one where they kind of like tan robots. I like them. They're cool guys. I forget the name, but they were like, oh, we're releasing them this year. You could put a down payment for $20K. Anyone know what I'm talking about? 1X.
1X.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
And so like, thank you. And like I just don't believe it'll be this year. I think it'll be like 2030. And so to go back to your original question, I mean, I just think it's software's moment now. Maybe it'll be human. I don't know what it'll look like for robots, but like, I think it's just different. I think the business model around software will change. I find it inspiring that you can copy a lot of these apps, and I think people are going to start remixing each other's apps, and there's going to be kind of this shared experience. If you think of what open source is, I'm really inspired and potentially are going to try and build it into our platform, like opening up open source to be anyone, whether or not they can code or not. And the GitHub for VibeCoders is going to look way different than the GitHub for developers, because no one's going to care about the code. They're just going to compare about the app. And so
Hold on. You said something powerful there that I don't think you really said, like realized just what just happened.
what's up?
The GitHub for VibeCoders, bro, like GitHub has not changed in the UI. It's like the Craigslist GitHub is the Craigslist of the UI. It's kind of embarrassing that it's gone on for this long, and it like there's so much new demand and new people entering this space that like double click more on this GitHub for VibeCoders thing, because I want this to like. Yeah, like this is so powerful right now as a concept.
What can I share?
Like, yeah, what can I share? Just give the sauce, man. There's only like a couple hundred people watching, right?
No. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Like,
I'll just play. We gotta smash the thumbs up right now. If you're watching right now, y'all gotta hit the thumbs up right now, because if you're gonna hear this sauce, like I don't think you realize this next revolution.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything until we hit 10,000.
Until we 10,000 likes. Get it?
I can wait.
Have you seen those videos where like the people walk up to you, like these popular streamers are like, "Yo, can I get a co-stream with you?" They're like, "Okay, yeah, I need 10,000 likes and 10,000 comments." Right? Like, we gotta get the likes up. We gotta get the comments up. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So the way that I see it is, I use a lot of tools for myself that are really useful. I share them with my people on my team. I can deploy them, add a password. I share it with my team and let them have a password. Sometimes I build a basic auth system. They can sign in. They can leave comments on it. Like I built one of the videos I did. There's a tool called Frame.io. Are you familiar with it? It's like
I've heard of it now.
A video or a platform where you can upload long videos. I use it to communicate with my editor. So instead of like giving written instructions, you can comment directly on top of a video, like leave comments on a timestamp.
Oh, got it.
And it costs $15 plus every head that you add to your team is like an additional $10. I just made the whole thing in 20 minutes. I did it on video, and you can invite people.
Oh my God, bro.
You can invite people, and you can add comments. You can attach attachments to the comments, etc. And I would love to be able to share this with, once we grow our marketing team, I would love for that, not only be able to share it with them, but like share them the project so they could remix it and add their own features, maybe even make it better. And if you think of like, what is the merge? Like what if they make a change that I like, that I want to like merge it back with my project? It's like, what is that for VibeCoding?
Whoa.
Wow. We don't know. And so, yeah, these are things that we think deeply about. And what is the open source of VibeCoding? I think that's going to be really fun.
Oh, wow.
I think it's going to be really cool. People are going to collaborate on things, and we don't know how it's going to shake out. We're kind of watching.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. So I think I see
You think
pieces
about it,
that,
like,
yeah.
I think the content parallel is really good, because once the video editing, you weren't someone who had a camera in the year 1999 unless you had a good reason to have it. Like,
right.
You're putting things on a film festival. You're making movies. There was no internet to no YouTube to upload videos.
Dang.
But like, as it got easier and easier to create content, then CapCut came along, and a huge part of what CapCut is remixing videos, so stitching videos. What is that in vibe coding terms?
Dang.
Like stitching someone's and I think the platform that has done this the most, like the TikTok for vibe coding, is a company called Gizmo. I don't know if you've heard of it. It has 20,000 downloads on, and it's a vibe coding. It's not a vibe coding platform. You can just make these little widgets, and you can use like Three.js, and I'm pretty sure it's just an HTML CSS file that you upload into a feed. But you can make, some of them are hilarious, and some of them are simple games, and you can remix them, comment on them, and like it was a huge aha moment for me as to like, there's going to be VibeCode power users, and there's going to be like people just creating fun little widgets. And one of them was just a piano, and then it told you what keys to play, and it was to like Runaway by Kanye West. And then once you finished playing, it dropped into the song, and then it showed a Three.js version of Kanye West rapping. And that was it. You used the software for 30 seconds. You commented on it, you had a fun experience, and then you swiped up, and now you're using a different software. I'm never going to see that software again. But they TikTokified content. And
Wait, like the Snapchat for like apps, like could just be that too, right? Like it could just live for like 30 minutes, and it's gone, and like no one has experience anymore. Or you can flip it and then do something else.
Yeah, and so like software.
Oh my god, bro!
You know, I'm obsessed with the productivity. I'm obsessed with like being able to like make my workflows better. But some people just want to like they want to just make a fun little vibe app and ship it. And I don't think people think about that. Like software that is only relevant for one day, but it also being a success. The same way a TikTok videos have a useful life of 1 week max. But for most videos you put out, it's like 7 hours, right? But like you can make a video that's only relevant for 2 days, and it's a success. Software, that's like a failure if you create a company around software that, you know, like, because it's so hard. It used to be hard to create software. Now it's easy.
So there's an interesting thing, because you're challenging the norm in a couple different ways. Because one is like, I think about infrastructure, right? So if you're a database, like how can you support that? Like how can you keep spinning up new apps?
Why are you asking me?
It takes forever, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like, you know, like there's no like auth platforms, right? Like I have to have different auth keys for each different thing, and like you're the same user, like, you know, I want to just spin up 30 different ideas, and I don't want to have like, what if the data's on this one, but then their user stuff is over here, and it may not be related, but like, you know, I want like, you know, Google has like a Google sign-in, and like, you know, there's just like these little things that get in the way. It's just like, I just want them to have the fun.
Yeah.
Use the app, like get experience. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I don't know either.
Let's go. I got Wayne in the building.
Dude,
By the
way, I do
have
to jump around 8:30. So
okay, cool.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Yeah. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so we're thinking a lot about this at Convex in terms of like the new developer experience for VibeCoders, app developers to like easily run command line, and they have multiple deployments, one prompt, auth install, set up from the get-go, and your deployment can live forever, right? Until you pause it or stop it.
Right.
And so because the way Convex is, how the team said has great abstractions, like in how it's built, we're not worried about if you build an app and it has 10,000 customers, 1 million rows in a database, and it's done, and then you like let it go and don't come back to it like a year later, it's still gonna be up and running. So we think about that type of developer experience, that type of user experience for VibeCoders and just what's gonna happen. And so easy setup production, easy setup, you know, now you think about, like, you know, the development is environment, because, you know, thinking about what we were talking about earlier in terms of the new developer experience, most people don't know about there's a dev environment and a production environment, right? They just want to like the app to work. And so we basically setting it up where you run your command line, you spin up your app, here's your database, here's your auth, and like a lot of auth providers are working on it. I'm not sure what you use, right? But like Clerk is working on this, and just like command line auth setup. WorkOS has done a tight integration with Convex. It may be live in the docs now, where you just like run the command line for your Convex template. WorkOS auth is just set up. And so that's kind of what we're planning for. and your app can just live forever and just set up a mini, like 1 day app, a 1 year app, 10 year app. It just works.
Wow. And then
All in real time.
someone else can take it and flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is Claude Code at using Convex? Like, can you make it so the agent like actually can edit and read and change files within the database?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something we're really passionate about, and what I really like for personal apps is like the idea, because we put Claude Code in a sandbox, and we have a pretty simple database setup for ours. We built our own our database thing, and it's really fun to create software that not only I use, but the agent can also use. So I can say like, hey, like edit this. You know, it's very similar to the way like if you were changing something in Cursor, like in the code file, and then you could tell the agent to change it. And there's a lot of cool use case. I call it like an agent workspace, where you are editing something, and in real time it updates the database, and then like you could set up a button or that would like edit it, and then like it'll edit your writing and show you a diff or something, and that. But the agent would need to be able to write to the database, and so like. Yeah, I'm curious, like, if you're seeing a lot of use cases for that.
Yes, seeing a lot of use cases, and building a lot of use cases like that as well. So everything about Convex, the team we got, I'm gonna be honest, we got lucky as hell, right? Like the team that built this, like 2022 and launched in 2023.
Yeah,
everything's fully reactive and type safe, like so it prevents users from shipping bad apps. Right, because it's like type safe, end-to-end type end-to-end type safe. And so with Claude Code, yes, we have skills. I'll put up some skills the other day. You can find them online, but everything just works. So you say, you necessarily don't need an MCP server. We have the MCP server, but you necessarily don't need it, right? Because Opus sees that Convex sees this database is reactive. Everything is like type safe, and it's like, oh, you want to make this change to the database? Cool, we can do that with permission.
Yeah.
We have got rules and guidelines in place so you don't mess up. And then you make a change on the back end, it's instant on the front end. And people ask like, why Convex? What's special about it? I'm like, one, it's going to save you time from developer experience, but two, your user's going to love you. And if you care about building an app, you care about users, your user's going to love you. Ray knows.
I got into it through that reason, because like I would spin up databases all the time, and it's like, okay, but then what's going to work well for these agents? And like S tier are type safe languages. So that's where the agent can write the code. It can like run some type of check and see if like it's going to fail or anything like that. And so like at a high level, really, that's just kind of giving you extra reassurance that, at the first loop, it's going to do its thing. But what kind of blew my mind, and this is kind of why I wanted to go through the Convex stack, is because like that happens now at the data level too. So like the database is TypeScript, which is kind of like mind blowing, but you're not writing SQL queries, and like the agents know how to do that too very well. But when
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's okay. No, I totally get it. But in essence, anything that can help the agents like better stay on track, for like, what's happening with, what's going on in the back end, and then what's happening on the front end is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like to be able to kind of combine those powers is kind of where we're going. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's happening. What I used to say, like, let's do some predictions for 2026, but I feel like every month is almost like a year. And so what is your, like, we have like,
okay, fine.
What's your
end of Q2?
End of Q2, okay. Yeah.
Right,
What's your end of Q2?
So predictions for the next 5 months, let's say.
Okay.
I have predictions and I have hopes. I guess one of my hopes is that DeepSeek R2 comes out and it's like 50 times cheaper and as good as Opus 4.5. That's like my biggest like dream. But I've never read an archive paper. I don't know how that shit works. So like, we fingers crossed on that one. Predictions.
So like it's going to be
volley.
Okay. So check this out. Okay, so Opus 4.5 just dropped November. We're just in December, January, right? And then OpenAI, drop 5.2. But then like, do they have GTA 6? I mean, GPT 6 in their pocket. GTA 6.
GTA 6.
I gotta drop. Yeah, GP. And so for me, like Opus 5, if this drops like in summer, I think it's gonna change the game in terms of speed for the.
Dude, you're already in Q3. What are you doing?
Yeah, Q3. I guess we're taking the next couple months, right?
Yeah. So end of Q2. Wait.
Damn. Okay. So
no, I'm tripping. Yeah, I guess start of summer. Yeah.
Yeah, start of summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking spring. So okay, Claude Code is a year, and everything's moving more CLI based, and like this thing with ClaudeBot is really fascinating, and I like this thread that it's being pulled on, and I also like these other threads that like Cursor's pulling on for like agentic question and answer pairing. So like, I think we're gonna have agents that can run for like 2 hours, and then like I think by the end of the year they'll run like in a 6 hour, like by the time you go to sleep at night.
But I mean, you can technically have these things run for as long as you want.
Yeah.
If it's not doing anything cool, like you could literally have it.
No, but I'm thinking like the quality that you're getting for Opus 4.5 as you as a human who's steering it.
Yeah.
I think you can get that for at least 2 hours in the next like couple of months. Like, token efficient. And then I think Cursor's model that they're working on with Composer 2, which is basically their fine-tuned version. Cursor's training on all the data that they've had before and every single input. It's really fast, but there's like these like spiky moments where it's really good at one thing but not at another. The reason why people were using that a lot is mostly for prototyping, because you can move super, super fast. I don't know exactly what they're using for the inference, but if their second generation can give you output like, at the Sonnet 4.5 level, or even like Opus 4 level, but at like crazy speeds, I think I could see that in the next 2 months.
Yeah. I think that sounds cool. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that could change a lot of people's workflows. Like if you use it and it's cheap, like way cheaper than like Sonnet or something, or as cheap
maybe.
as...
For me, I like the fast iteration cycle. I think VibeCode, a lot of reasons why people like VibeCoding is you like to put in a prompt, you see the change, then you make another change. I like the faster feedback loop rather than like the I like longer tasks for non-software things. Like I think doing research. I think I've been using Manus a lot recently just to kind of see what's going on with these general agents. Also, the ClaudeBot thing reminds me a lot of Poke by Interaction. I don't know if you remember that. I went through that onboarding, and it reminds me, it's like an easier way of doing it. It kind of remembers things about you. I'm sure that's kind of what it reminds me of, but it seems like much more customizable. So I guess one of my predictions would be that more of those types of companies are going to come out, like these general agents like ClaudeBot. Like maybe there'll be more ClaudeBots. Maybe there'll be a company that like just turns it into an actual company. I don't know if ClaudeBot is a company or if it's just like an open source thing.
Just an open source. Yeah.
Like, I guarantee you there's already 200 YC submissions like BotCloud.
BotCloud. Oh my God, we forked it. Yeah.
They're just going to fork it and turn it into a YC company or something.
That's interesting. I like this question here. It was like, at what point do agents become part of the OS, and where the terminal UI just becomes a Google search box, like the Spotlight search on a Mac or something like that? I feel like we're already there with Claude Code, right? Like they're not baked into the OS, but I mean, like you're one command line away and it's already there. Like it's
all you have to do is add it.
ClaudeBot is there, like one CLI install, and like
for me, I'm much more interested in Claude Code, like running many different Claude Codes in sandboxes. I think to me, like that's kind of how I would want to do it, is just run it in the web. I don't necessarily want it to have access to the files on my computer. I have no need. I don't really. Every month, I just get rid of all the files. I put it in the cloud, and I have a whole workflow that's like very cloud oriented. And maybe like a lot of the purists, like to have, like the people who like Obsidian, they're like, they're your files. For me, it's just not the best experience. I want to be able to access it all on my phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm most excited about.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me also, like, I want to just get faster at like Yap to app. I say this a lot. So like I literally just speak my idea, and there's like a Stripe link people can pay and start using it, and I just keep validating as fast as possible. Like just stupid little things. And just like almost I want to have it so like I'm just flicking like TikTok, but people can flick to like stop on an app and just start using the app, and they're like, oh, this is really useful. You know, like just like you were saying with the game thing, but like kind of for actual like productivity or anything.
I don't think it's going to be on the phone. I think phones are inherently unproductive, like devices. Yeah, I think there's going to be one that exists for the computer, which will be like productivity apps. But I think the one that'll win is like Gizmo, I think, which is just pure for fun on the phone. Like, are you really going to scroll productivity apps?
No.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like you're just like, oh, this to-do list app's awesome. Pay $20. Like, come on. Like, are you really going to do that? I don't buy that. But I do think the computer version, which feels more like the GitHub for like product, like
There you go.
true power users are on their computer.
Yeah.
And we've validated that based on, because we started off with a mobile app builder that builds mobile apps. Like people are way more likely to spend more time on their computer. They're more likely to spend more money on their computer. And they're building much cooler things on the computer from what we've found.
Wow.
That was a big finding. And so, yeah, I think that is coming. I don't see it being on the phone.
So like if you're working with maybe like people with high paying professions like law offices, because I feel like that's the biggest opportunity right now. It's like, you know, as these things get better at searching through documents and stuff, and their workflows are kind of niche, but they're also can be skills files combined together, right? Like in a little thing, and they can get stuff done.
Yeah. What was the question?
I was just thinking about, you know, where these things are going and kind of how do I, for me, like what, I'm just going to keep trying a whole bunch of things and something will land and we'll kind of see that there. So yeah, I think this is a really good way to kind of start off like our little like vibe check for 2026. You know, we got Riley in the building and stuff. Thank you so much for kind of swinging by.
This is fun.
And participating with this whole thing.
Because we rambled and dove into all kinds of different things. Yeah, this is a good time.
Yeah, we also have our audience here in person. We have Maddie. We have some other folks here kind of hanging out. This has been a whole cool vibe, and I appreciate everyone who's kind of been joining on. Also, everyone else who's been able to kind of hang out with us live also on the stream. Y'all have been super cool and super instrumental to kind of making this stuff happen. So trying to do this every Thursday. We're going to appear everywhere in the world. Literally, I'll be in Hawaii. And when I'm there, we're going to hang out. We're going to do one of these vibe checks, you know, on the beach or something. That'd be so crazy. And
you love the beach, huh?
I do love the beach, man. I love warm weather and just being out there. I think that's another thing about nature is that you can be like, it reminds you that like we come from a place that like this whole system people don't even really understand. And like, if you go into an ocean and just look inside of the ocean, see like when you're snorkeling this like ecosystem that's there, that's aliens, bro. Like there's aliens floating down there. Like, you know,
and
like
they don't even know how to vibe code.
They don't even know how to, they're just sitting there.
Like,
and yeah. Oh my God, bro.
When the squid start vibe coding, you know that shit got real.
Yeah, it's insane. Like the ecosystem. And it's like, you know, volcanoes just spat this stuff out and like the ocean ate away this stuff and like we're doing this stuff. And it just reminds me that, you know, when I look at these mountains and like I look at, as a human, you're trapped on this island in the middle of like the Pacific Ocean, you know, Hawaii, and you're so far away from any other civilization ever. And you're like, people lived here for like, you know, like for a while. And like, I don't even know how they got there. And like, you know, they lived a life that was so different. And it gets me to kind of disconnect from San Francisco for a while and kind of see things from a very different perspective. And people like live off the land. There's a whole different, like people would probably call that AI. If like you can live off the land, you can get fish, you can cook it. Like these technological advances at that time was like, you know, it kind of makes you think about things. Like someone somehow was on a wooden canoe or thing, went across this like Pacific Ocean where I could barely like go a mile out there and get else, you know, it's just very scared. So it's a good reset mentally. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, these vibe checks, I want to see what the vibe is for where you're at. So comment down below, let us know like where you're from. Where are you watching from? Where do you want us to pull up at? When I say us, it's me, we, and I'll bring my friends with me. Whoever wants to go, y'all show up, you know, we'll make a little Luma event. And this is what I'm trying to do every Thursday. I'm going to host them here in the Bay Area, Hawaii, wherever I'm at in the world. It could be, you know, Austin, where you're at. A lot of people in New York are requesting that there too. And if anyone who's interested in sponsoring, just let me know. If you can host an event space, it's awesome. If you can provide some food, that's great. You know, if you want your name at the little bottom, like let me know. You know, it could be all kinds of stuff that we have going on because this is something new that I'm starting. And I feel like we're just starting to tap in. And it's going to just be very important for us to share what we're doing with this type of technology. And it's just such a cool thing. It's very special for me to have Riley on our show today because like, I think you were really one of the pioneers of like, along with a lot of us at that time to make apps into existence and be the gamer, play the game.
Play the game, dude.
Yeah. Like, bro, that's powerful. And you know, what a cool way to kind of kick off this like 2026 thing, you know, that we're doing here in San Francisco. It's kind of symbolic because this is going to continue to evolve over time. And I feel like you can start one of these in your community too. Get a bunch of people together, and hopefully this inspires you as well. And we'll be back next week, next Thursday, see if we can get some special guests lined up. But even then, it's just about coming together. I want to maybe do some more demos or something where we can have some stuff I can show you, either the stuff that I'm working on or maybe some of our community members that are working on, and maybe apps and stuff. And, you know, I think maybe show you like a Claude Code session and like how I use that, or, you know, what am I using in Cursor that's really interesting? What am I, you know, how am I like, what's interesting about Convex that I like a lot about it? You know, I'll just share techniques too. And I think that'll be super helpful. So I appreciate everyone who's been able to join us for this inaugural session. Obviously, like, you know, smash the thumbs up, like everything, share with a friend, and we'll see you guys next Thursday. Peace out, y'all. Yo.
See you guys. Thanks.